republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Aquí, allá. ¿Cómo tú estás? Bien. Bien.
Thank you for coming to our February Sullivan County Water Control District meeting. Becky, when you get a chance, you roll call.
Esto pues se hace frío. No, esto pues si empieza a sofrear y llamarme. Bueno, ya yo estoy viejita.
Mr. Treasurer,
Porque esto es frío. Sí.
Here. Alvarez. Santana.
Here.
Chair.
Present.
Santiago.
Here.
District Engineer.
Here.
District Manager. All present.
You big one. Do we have any additions, deletions, or substitutions to the agenda?
Yes.
Sí, hay que tener. Pero no se puede hacer nada. Entonces, ¿qué me dijo? Pero vi que todo.
And the other, I wanted to add for the FASD,
Pero hicieron.
what Mr. Romero had counseled us in regards to becoming members of
Porque
it.
tuvieron una suerte que lo van a bajar, pero se les ya se lo dije para que lo vean.
Well, it's been a while, so they have a lot of new programs and stuff that are coming out, and I was looking on the website, and I contacted Mary, which is the educational director. She said the best deal would be to become members again. So we can become part of it, the board, various programs for the board, so you guys can take on the webinar. Yes. So I would like to have that to be voted on, just to become a member again. It was on, but we never voted on it. Yeah, a year. It's a year percentage.
What about seeing more meeting next January? That's still on?
No, sir, that's the deletion. It'll be on for next.
Dicho que cuesta. Aquí se gastaba un dineral que ya pudieran haber hecho la calle de Dati. La calle de Quinto. La calle de Quinto. De que eso es lo que falta. La gran calle de Dati. Claro, pues se que meten todo el dinero. Aparte de que se roba. Sí. De mi sala.
Si lo eres, repartiste los pinchos, ¿no? Dominguez. Yes, sir. Hey, Dominguez, how are you, buddy? Welcome.
Come on in and sit down, please, if you would. Get ready to go over that. More than welcome to fill out here, y'all.
Fui a asiento aquí.
No está aquí. Ay, no había probado. No, ese era porque sabía que no le podía hacer lo que quería. Ella era buena y renunció.
City officials may be recognized by the chair and shall not interrupt the speaker. Public comment shall be addressed to the board as a whole, not to any individual on the dais or in the audience. Displays of anger, rudeness, disrespect, obscene or vulgar conduct shall not be permitted. Members of the public in attendance at the meeting must be respectful of others when they're addressing the board. Free expression of all points of view is an important democratic value in this community. Each speaker is asked to complete a public comment card and is allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board.
Thank you, sir. With that being said, we have our first question. Ineda?
Yes.
You come address the board, please.
Ahora no van a saber de ti porque tú no tienes la primera pregunta. No importa. Ella no vengo a preguntarlo. Que va a ir la misma cosa. Yo ahora sí.
Interpret for us, and meaning you would. Okay.
No solo mías, sino de todo, ya es parte de todo el mundo que estamos limitados. No hay calle, no hay alumbrado, siguen subiendo los taxis, no hay basura.
Voy a ir y interpreto.
De las casas, no
Voy a ir y interpreto, ¿no?
vamos años en esto, ya llevo 6 aquí ya.
Todos hablan español. Sí, pero ¿qué digo que interpretar? Porque es
Cinco años que tenía,
¿aquello qué?
y nadie hace nada.
Jose, can you turn the mic up so we can hear more? Sigue. ¿Qué más se dice?
El abogado comiendo y no le importa nada.
Hay 4, 5, por lo menos hay 3 que ya pusieron los carteles de venta.
Ok.
Compraron hace unos años y de nuevo no prospera. Estamos 25 años en esto aquí y esto va a seguir lo mismo. Perro, Ricardo, Belzaida, y ya sabe cuántos más. Acá en el perímetro, entre las amistades, que hoy me seguir a visitar, ya hay 3 que van a hacer casa buena. Y me dicen, mira la cantidad de huecos, venía esta carretera. Antes se tiraba la rock y venía la cargadora y por no la pagaba y todo eso. Ya no se hace nada ya, cada día no es menos.
You will when she finishes.
Y siguen subiendo los taxes se suben y no hay arreglo de ninguna clase. Entonces ya uno que quiere es como, hemos hecho una inversión de $100,000 aquí y no se hace nada. Entonces ya uno que quiere es venir y irse de aquí ya.
Que tiene
No hay basura, nosotros peleadas. Vamos a pagar a alguien para que venga para que lleve la basura. Allá
y le dice que el señor de todo cochinado baja para ahí.
las casas que quieren hacer
Se lo van a hacer.
las casas que quieren hacer acá en el perímetro. Ahí hay 3 propiedades que quieren empezar a construir ya. Y me dicen, tú eres que es bueno, aunque sea solares, aunque sean luces
Ah, ya
solares.
se lo hiciste.
No hay nada. Nosotros esperamos
te manden a ver.
25 años que no tenemos. Ni los niños tienen una caseta para esperar aunque sea, o un alumbrado que haya que sea, que pongan los postes y pongan aunque sea luces solares. No, los niños tienen que esperar ahí de noche, tardísimo, como uno no sabe si una serpiente. Le digo las quejas que me dan a mí, ¿ven? Que oigo yo. Voy a decir que toda comida y hay unos cuantos hombres ahí quejándose todo el mundo. Vamos a tener que ir para arriba, hablar arriba, con la gente del habla, porque aquí no se hace nada. Estamos cansados. Me dicen, oye, frente al Marinú igual ahí frente al garaje. Ahí tenemos que ir más arriba porque aquí estamos en la misma siempre. No se hace nada. Okay.
Emilio, would you interpret and then if you could address me, Mr. Bennett can address some of her questions?
I'm pretty bad at that.
Some of those don't pertain to us, about half of them don't pertain to us.
Go ahead.
The lady saying that she's complaining about the roads here in Ventura, the road maintenance. She lives behind the fire department station.
Yes, it's gonna be hard to hear you.
She lives behind, she's complaining about the roads and the roads maintenance. She lives behind the fire department station, and she has many neighbors that are leaving, looking for cell signs, here in Ventura because they are unhappy. They're unhappy the way everything situation, everything is here. She has friends in Perimeter Road, and those friends in Perimeter Roads, they are investing $100,000 on more different houses there, but they are very unhappy because the Perimeter Road is really bad and many holes, and she's complaining because she says to go to the church. She goes to the church here in Ventura. There's too many people complaining there of the situation here in Ventura.
As well as the lighting, she mentioned the lighting.
She mentioned the lighting, and especially when the bus stops, which is pretty dark. And she says that maybe a snake can bite the children or all the members, and there should be more lighting there. And she stated that she's
Solar.
being unhappy here although they have invested over $100,000. And she will see them.
Herminio, can you speak on behalf of the road? She mentions perimeter, she mentions the trash, the taxes. I guess we can speak on the taxes mostly, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Boyd, you can explain that the taxes pretty much, this year the millage stayed the same. The property taxes went up because of the
Inflation.
appraisals, as well as what we did here also with the increase of tax. I think ours was $30 a year, but the Hendry County taxes went up because of the property values, correct? Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. Can you speak on behalf of Perimeter Road?
Perimeter Road, the last time we spoke about Perimeter Roads, Mr. Bennett brought over the numbers for you guys. He says it was gonna cost $1 million to do the perimeter road. So, you guys say no, the only thing we can do was repair, which we did.
So the perimeter has been repaired?
We punched a lot of holes there.
Dice que lo
What
repararon ya.
about,
Que con el perimeter se
trash?
está diciendo que hay que
Speak on
reparar.
trash?
Not really, we don't do trash.
Ella está diciendo que el perimeter está mal. Y hace que ya lo relamen.
We did have dumpsters back here, correct?
Right.
Yo tenía que verla allá arriba y
Estamos
interpretarla.
hablando de...
I'm sorry, but the Medina Road is the same.
Ella sabe,
Lo que me
ella
está
sabe.
preguntando es que yo te explique de la basura.
Sí, pero también de la calle llenas de huecos, pero llenas de huecos.
Estaban a decir que están arregladas. Yo pensaba que eso era inglés.
Va a la iglesia, está lleno de huecos. Va a pedirme lo que sale por allá por la sierra. Ya pedirme y aquello.
Y lo se cogió en una mentira.
Yes, another trash.
The trash is like private property, someone else's yard.
What else?
Con la basura, nosotros no tenemos nada que ver con la basura en la propiedad privada. Eso es por enforcement. En Henry County. Esa es la basura que tú estás hablando.
Las quejas que realiza la gente, ¿ves? Entonces los meetings, eso es otra cosa, pero los meetings que los ven los sábados, porque un miércoles a las 6 de la tarde, ¿quién puede venir? Toda esta gente vive en Miami. Entonces dicen ellos, para venir para acá, el sábado sí pueden hacerlo en el Troll House para que todo el mundo pueda asistir y ellos pueden quejarse. Nos quejamos, pero no se puede hacer nada. Yo dije, pero ¿qué quejense allá en el meeting? Y los vamos a tener un miércoles a las 6 de la tarde.
Los meetings, they're already done for the year, right? The meetings for 2022, they're already done for the whole year, right? The dates? The dates?
Yes, sir, and it's on the website.
We can change it.
So es algo que, podemos mirar. ¿Qué más quería hablar de las luces? Los luces.
Solar.
How does that work? The lights in Montura, Mr. Bennett, how does that work? Yes, sir, how does that work? Are they strategically placed? Should they be at every corner? How does that work? So we can...
Que me llamó y de parte tío.
At least every 1 mile.
¿Dónde está?
That's something I'm working with Blade Electric. I have to speak in front of their board. I'm trying to get them to donate because they're a 501c, so they do donations every year. We're one of their biggest providers, Blades Electric. I'm trying to see if they can donate to us in certain locations. I'm waiting to get back with the superintendent to schedule a date to see what bus stops are hot zones so we can light the roads for the kids. I haven't got back with him on that yet, work Blades. I have to speak in front of their board. Their board's all the way in, Lake Placid.
But Mr. Vic, how about the lights that we have now? How does that go?
I hope so.
Gracias, Aníbal.
¿Tú fuiste la?
No se hace nada.
No me parece nada. Sí, ¿y por qué no me lo dijiste? Porque yo no That's why I told him, that's why. Eso lo digo. It's not true. I know it's not true.
Maybe you should...
I told him, it's not true. It's not true because it's the same thing. Viejo que no te gusta. Que se quite el tapaboca. Y me dice que enseñe la foto que cogí al lado de mi casa. La foto de cómo hicieron el desastre que hicieron en el
yo no puedo, tiene que ser tú. Yo se lo digo, yo te sigo entre
At some point, we paid for lights, so they would turn them on, but we're not even supposed to be in the middle of that. That's, the school board is the one that was should put up the lights at the bus stops. The school board.
Ahora es la escuela que tiene que hacerlo.
¿Qué
tiene que hacer? Poner la luz y los
It's not within our power. It's not something we can do.
I mean, can you, tomorrow or sometime this week, take a ride down perimeter? I'm not sure if you have time, Mr. Bennett, to ride down perimeter and verify if there's any issues, if there are any issues. Okay. If you would, take pictures and send it to us as well and see what it would cost to fix, to repair that road. It is in bad shape. It is in bad shape. I think you said it was really, really low, right? That road? That one, Dado, and Kennel, right? The three.
That's the three we talked about.
Yes, sir.
They went kennel. Forever, that started.
El problema es que si se pone la cámara y los ladrones se la roban.
Next, we have Mr.
El
Orlando
problema es que la verdad.
Borges.
Good evening, my name is Orlando Jorges, I'm coming from Lowell. I represent the people that is coming from that cities. Y básicamente quería conocer el sistema como están haciendo los meetings aquí y presentarme a ustedes. Representamos un grupo de personas que estamos viniendo del sector del sur de la Florida, de la parte de Miami, Fort Lauderdale, de West Palm Beach, con el deseo de aquí.
If you're gonna speak in English, it's better.
I want to let the definition in Spanish for the other.
Hispanglish.
Oh, speak about English.
And,
No, yo soy bien malo.
oh, ya. Más o menos. Okay. Y simplemente queremos ser partícipes del crecimiento de Montura, creemos en Montura y estamos dispuestos a participar de una manera activa dentro de los propósitos que se tienen en el grupo para crecer a Montura. Y somos conscientes de que hay malas costumbres, pero para eso son estas reuniones y queremos ser partícipes. Queremos que se nos tenga en cuenta porque si bien es cierto no vivimos aquí actualmente, somos personas que de acuerdo a un pequeño censo que hemos hecho dentro de la comunidad, somos casi que la mayoría las personas que estamos tratando de crear un desarrollo en Montura, pero que no somos de Montura.
¿Qué organización pertenece usted? ¿Qué organización?
Estamos conformando un grupo de amigos en este momento, nos hemos conocido, personas que nos estamos reuniendo y vemos que nos gusta Montura, queremos apoyarnos, sabemos que estamos en una mala situación, hay muchas cosas que están mal, pero queremos ser parte, no ser parte de, queremos ser parte de la solución. Queremos ser parte de la solución, estamos dispuestos a apoyar y que por favor nos tengan en cuenta también porque si bien es cierto, actualmente no estamos en Montura, nuestro deseo en pocos años es vivir en Montura. Estamos considerando que Montura es una zona campestre donde estamos cerca de Miami, no de Miami exactamente, pero del condado de Broward y del condado de Miami, y queremos que crezca positivamente para nosotros ser partícipes de poder pasar nuestros últimos años aquí en Montura. Y queremos ser parte del crecimiento. Mi nombre es Orlando Borges y estaré pendiente de las reuniones y siendo vocero de todas las personas que no pueden estar aquí con el único ánimo de ayudar al crecimiento. Muchas gracias.
Yes, yes.
Porque él tiene el necesito, el que hizo la tarjeta.
He and his friends are coming from South Florida, from South Miami, and they're coming over here to go back to Montura. They live in Montura, and we want to create positive things from Montura. That's why they're coming to the meetings. They want to know what we're doing here in the meetings and what plans we have, and what sense they can assist us, they can help Montura, because they're looking forward in the future to move permanently to Montura and make Montura their home, and they want to create a positive impact here.
Thank you. Next, Ms. Nunez.
Yes.
Si no pones tu nombre ahí, no vas a decir nada.
I actually have a few questions.
Shoot.
I happened to go on YouTube
Okay.
and I looked up the meeting on August 25th
August 25th.
Yes, sir.
Of which year?
of 2021. My son is the one that was sexually harassed by the employee that you guys had here, okay?
Okay.
On the video, I see a lot of people here saying that this is a he say, she say.
Okay.
This was not a he say, she say. This is a they say, he agreed to what he said,
Okay.
okay? So, I wanna know how everyone would feel if someone that is supposed to work for this district goes over to your house, and I was not, when I left the voice message, I did not speak in Spanish, and I said that my son was sexually harassed by an employee here. Okay? You guys should have that voice message that I left here, okay? I wanna make that clear. Okay? I wanna know what was done, because you guys, or whoever was here, okay? I had an agreement with the manager.
Okay.
The manager told me that he was gonna handle this. Obviously, after watching the video, this was not handled. They didn't handle it. The person, and I'm sure, they were given the option to quit so that way they can maybe be rehired in the future, which I'm sure that will happen, or, you know, avoid everything. I was not given the choice to do a report. No one told me that I needed to do a report with the police or the Henry County. I said, do you want me to call the police? And the person that I spoke to here said, yes, that's not a problem, let me go to your house and talk to your son. So this is not a he say, she say, this is something happened, because the person on the report that was manually written out by this office admitted that he approached my 16-year-old son, okay, and sexually harassed him. So how is this person not gonna come back here or work in another school or work anywhere? How is this not gonna happen? Because Montura has a lot of
Sex predator.
trees and places that are not developed. That person could have gotten another kid, just like this one. I have a 10-year-old. He could have been pulled behind a bush, okay? This could have been much worse than what it was. So how was this investigated? Because this issue was done within 2 days. This happened on a weekend, or Friday, I believe it was, or something like that, the 29th, and I was called on the 1st. The person that I spoke to here, right, this person came to my house and told me, don't worry about this, I handled it. This was not handled. It was not handled properly. Okay, so, can someone tell me how is this a he say, she say? My son, again, 16 years old, at my house. Oh, and let me say this out loud. My 16-year-old son doesn't feel safe in his house anymore. He decided to move to another state to feel safe. Okay? This was done on my property. He was in my house.
They don't care.
Okay?
I don't get it. Yo le hubiera dado una entrada.
Something needs to happen, either to management or anyone that can handle this correctly. Okay? This is not okay. Because now I don't feel like my kids are safe, and any kid that's here in Honduras is not safe. Okay? So, can this person be rehired here? Can this person work at a school? Because nothing happened. Nothing happened to this guy. And even though I didn't press any charges, because I had an agreement with the manager here, right? Is that correct?
No.
Oh, I didn't have an agreement. Sorry.
I understand
I'm sorry,
what you're feeling. But
I have two
you have
witnesses.
to direct the board.
Perfect. I have two witnesses. My 16-year-old son, again, that moved to another state because he didn't feel safe here. Okay? The agreement was, you handle this, we don't need to get the police involved. It was not handled.
Estaba loca. Está loca.
The person was led on to quit, and nothing happened to this person. So are we friends with the employees here so that way they can quit and nothing happens to them? Because this can happen to other kids. Hopefully it doesn't happen to anybody else.
I agree.
Okay? But it will happen. So, you guys haven't done anything to anyone that works here regarding this issue. This was not, again, a he say, she say. This is a she said, they say, and he said that it was, and yes, this did happen.
Mr. Thank you. Sorry. Mr. Ferrero, you want to speak on behalf of how we handle that, or what transpired when it got to us? If I'm not mistaken, the sheriff was involved, something like that, was
The
it?
sheriff was never called when I was here, just so you know. It was never involved. And during the time that I came here, okay, they should have cameras in the office over there. They should see that I came here, spend the time talking to them, okay, or him, I should say, I'm sorry. I mean, I have to say who it was because there was only one person there, okay? And no one was called here during the time that I was here. No one was called to my house.
No sheriff,
No sheriff was called to my house.
no deputy?
Nothing
went to your
was
property?
called to my property.
Is that what happened? Can somebody rehash of what happened?
Sure.
Was the sheriff walking?
So the lady, I'm sorry,
Nunez.
what happened to your son? She came to the office and she was very upset about an employee approaching her son.
Yes, sir.
Approaching my son how?
I don't know, I wasn't there.
I told you how the,
I don't know,
I
wasn't
said
there.
how,
You have dropped. Let him say, please.
So I personally went to her house and I asked her permission after I spoke to her to let the son explain to me what happened. The son
Tenía que hacer una
explained to me
policía.
something about the dogs, the man said,
Está loca.
I forgot already what it was. And I asked her, well, you need to call the sheriff department. She says, I don't want to get nobody in trouble.
I don't wanna get anybody in trouble, correct?
So I
As long
said,
as you
well,
handle this.
I said, if you're not gonna call the sheriff department, you need to let me know, because either way, I have to do something with it,
Que no quiero porque no lo
right?
I said, I don't need to call the sheriff department,
No, she
as
said,
long as
I
you
don't
handle
want to
this.
call the sheriff department
My
because I
husband
don't
was
want.
there, my son was there when I spoke to him. Okay, so I have no reason to come up here and lie.
No.
Okay, my son was the one that was sexually harassed, and I want to say that out loud again. My son was sexually harassed by an employee here. The employee quit, and then nothing happens to anybody else. That's a problem.
Can I finish?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, so she says, I don't want to call the sheriff department, I don't want to get nobody in trouble. I said, well, you need to let me know what you're gonna do, so I know what I'm gonna do. That's exactly what I said. Came back over here, I called Deputy Dominguez, and I explained to him how things happen. Mr. Dominguez says he did not cross the line. The employee was suspended during all this investigation. I called Mr. Fumero, whatever. When I called the employee back, he quit.
You know, on the video, on August 25th,
Y quit
2021,
porque en 2, 3 años y que puede venir para atrás porque no lo
the
votaron.
deputy said that he never got anything done here. Okay, so
Mr. Dominguez, did we call you in the office about that issue or not?
Yes, sir.
Hold on.
when was
We're not, listen, hold on. So everybody knows we're not gonna go back and forth. This is not the type of meeting. So everybody knows we're not gonna go back and forth. I feel your pain, so if you would, so, let me ask you this, Mayor. Can you see what's going on here and you give the board, you get down to the brass tacks? I'm gonna be honest with you, Ms. Nunez, you and your husband, if somebody did that to my child or my grandson, I would call the deputy.
I understand what
and
you're
whoop
saying,
his-
but my son is 16 years old.
What?
He was embarrassed. He's still embarrassed to this moment.
Yo le hubiera entrado para atrás.
I
No, yo lo
talked to
mato.
him, and I agree with you, but then I go to jail. And I have 3 children.
I would have loved it. I would have
I
cherished
can't
it.
go to jail,
I
so.
would have cherished every minute of it. But again, that's just my opinion, but
Me
if you could
too.
look into
Ay,
see
con
what's
mucho
going
gusto.
on, so you
I
can
present
present.
to the board, there's only one way to ensure a dirtbag like that doesn't do what he does to your son. That is call the police, report a crime, and have him charged so he has a record. He could fire him 5 times, there's no record. You can apply it anywhere, like you say, you're right.
So you do it again?
Anywhere, and if that employer doesn't do their homework,
Question for you.
hire him.
I was never given a copy of the
Report.
the report that was filled out. Okay, never given a copy. I don't know how that person, I don't know their name, I don't know their first, the last name, I don't know anything about them. So, how do I go about doing this?
I would today call the police and report the crime now. It's not too late. Okay, you have 7 years, okay? if I have 2 children, and I can't imagine.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
can tell you one thing.
Exactly.
My behind would be in that police station, and I'd make sure that SOB was arrested.
Oh, he's not the only one.
Because that way I
Yo, a
can
mí me
show
hubieran
that
tenido
number one,
a mí
he
me hubieran
punished
quitado el
what
bate
he
de
did.
la mano.
And number 2, he had a permanent record that would follow him
Muchacho, un muchacho.
anywhere he goes.
Un muchacho lo mató.
You have something?
Yes. As the board, can we hold an internal investigation until we can find the verdict of what really went down?
Sure, you can investigate.
On the report, it doesn't say what really happened, just so you know. It doesn't say anything about what really actually happened.
In my opinion, again, as a parent, I could care less what anyone else thinks. With all due respect, I could care less what the media thinks. All that matters is what you think and what happened to your son. You take that story and you go today, tomorrow, and you report that to the police so they can do what they're supposed to do. What anyone here thinks, I mean, from a parent's standpoint, I could care less. Sure. All that matters is my family.
Yep.
I care less really, but truth. That's just me.
I would have killed him.
Next, we have Antonio, I want to say
Yo lo
last
mato.
name Stark.
Yo voy presa, amigo. Eso sí. ¿Y este niñito?
Bueno, vamos a ver.
How old
he's allowed to do it, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he's allowed to.
Mr. Farmer, I think he's allowed to do it.
At the last meeting, I asked a question that was misunderstood by Mr. Brown.
Can you-
In regards to the CCWC procedures trespass decision from the public. I'm aware that the law enforcement procedures trespass decision, but my question was, what's the board's procedure to trespass decision?
All the question?
What's the board's procedure to trespass
He's
decision?
asked me to respond. There's no written procedure for how the board should respond to a trespass.
Trespass?
There's no written procedure for how to respond to somebody who walks in wearing a yellow outfit. I mean, we don't have a procedure, but as I understand it, because I wasn't involved or about it after the fact, I was here for the incident. That incident was reported by some people. The police were here. They saw what happened with the 1-2 eyes, and they, entered the trespass. I haven't even seen the trespass before that. What my business?
How do we request a different deputy for the meeting? Because I'm not so safe.
Excuse me?
How do we request a different deputy for the meetings? Because I don't feel safe.
If you said, listen.
That's not a question, that's just.
He threatened you or something like that?
No, I just don't feel safe.
Why you don't feel safe?
Bueno, a ti cogía contigo, compadre. Yo te digo a ti que vaya. No tienen cogida con él porque son como toda la mierda.
Next is Mr. Nelson Garcia.
Apenas se oyó.
Hello, gentlemen of the board, my name is Nelson Garcia. I've been living here for 5 years now. And I do have, want to touch on a couple of topics. Do you have any questions? It is my understanding that you guys are responsible for the roads, correct? Am I correct in that assumption?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that not also mean that you are also responsible for damages incurred to vehicles due to lack of maintenance of the roads? Legally speaking.
That's a very good question. I'll let you keep going so you don't waste your time, but I'll let Mr. Favero answer that question. That's a good question.
Because the way I've seen it, many times, when a vehicle is damaged due to a road that is not properly maintained, the county or whoever is responsible for those roadways have to pay for the repairs. Now, I'm not trying to slam you guys. I understand there's a lot of dirt roads, lots of rain, lots of runoff, lots of potholes. And should do your best, okay? But I think we can do better, and we can try to do better. I was here from the very beginning when the whole hoopla of the four-wheelers tearing up the roads was the reason behind it. Now we don't have that anymore, and the roads still don't seem to be getting much better. At least that's the perspective from what I'm seeing. Took me almost a year to get half a load of shale rock dropped on my road, run over, and made them miss two potholes while they were out. So I think we can do better, or at least try, okay? I understand taxes are going up because Ventura has been rezoned, if I understand it correctly, to rural residential, right?
No, sir, still on.
It still hasn't had, still rural agricultural?
It's still RM.
Okay, all right, wonderful. One of the topics I wanted to touch on is, and this is something that's going to require a little bit of understanding. Sure. Okay, as you know, we have a lot of crime, lots of drugs in this world. You know, part of this comes from children, kids, teenagers at a border. Just have nothing to do. You know, you gotta walk them out to the lake, you need a permit to fish, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? As I'm sure you all know, Houston issues permits for golf carts. Now Flagler is allowing that.
That's correct.
And I think that there's a happy medium that we can all reach, which will benefit both sides.
Yes, sir.
And make our community more attractive.
Agreed.
Okay? I would propose golf carts, you know, maybe what, 15, 20 miles an hour?
Yes, sir.
They're not gonna kill anybody, damage a road, or anything of that nature.
Sure.
A decal would have to be purchased annually, which will go to help fund, you know, the CCW.
Yes, sir.
Makes the neighborhood more attractive and gives people, such as myself, hey, I want to drive to Mary Lou's, enjoy the air, see the view. It makes the neighborhood more attractive.
Yes, sir.
When people are allowed to just enjoy basic benefits. I've seen pictures and videos, it looks horrific, you know, golf carts slipping toes, this and that and the other. I understand we can tweak that to make it reasonable. Nobody wants a four-wheeler running around the street at 80 miles an hour, I get it. Okay? I personally own one, and it hurts, but I understand.
It's actually on the agenda also.
Yes.
So-
Now, my understanding of the law,
Yes, sir.
okay, and please correct me if I'm wrong, okay? The definition of a public road, all of our dirt roads meet that criteria, except for one thing, which makes it legally, in a court of law, a public street, a speed limit sign. Okay? If you look at the statute, part of the requirement for it to be considered a public roadway is a speed limit sign. And the last time I checked, none of these roads had it. So I wouldn't want to like open up a can of worms here for vehicles that were towed instead of been issued under the wrong statute, because, as I said, by definition of law, if you look it up, a speed limit sign is a requirement for it to be considered a public road. Now, I'm not going to sit here and start, you know, I want to argue with anybody, but I do believe we can make our community more attractive to the incoming influx, because let's face it, the neighborhood's going to grow, not going to stop, and we need to find a middle ground to where everybody can have a little bit of freedom, because most of the people that are coming, they're coming to escape the long arm of the government, the overreaching government. That's why I came here, and that's why many people have come here. So, you know, I think that that's an issue that we should really, really consider. At the very least, you know, start thinking about golf carts, both electric, maybe even the gas-powered ones. They don't go fast, they're not a nuisance, and it makes our neighborhood attractive.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so.
And I've been pulled over for a golf cart as well, and we have, as a board, collectively have been pushing. I think Mr. Ferrero has some information for us as well on the golf cart. He'll speak on that later, but if you can speak on Mr. Nelson's question about responsibility of damages, and I thank you for what you've said.
And first of all, let me say, as far as I'm concerned, Central County roads are public roads. And there are traffic signs and there are traffic limits which are enforced.
I would suggest, look at the statute for the definition of a public roadway, and part of the criteria, it has, like I said, has everything except for speed limit sign, which every road is required to have in order by statute to be considered a public roadway. Like I said, I'm not here to, have a match with you over who has a bigger one. Sure. But you gotta read it carefully, and it is required to have a speed limit sign. If it's not a speed limit sign, the default speed limit is 15 miles per hour, which then falls into another category. So it's a lot of reading. It's a lot of reading to do. But I did take the time to
Speed
read.
limit flags. Good to see you here. I believe the speed limit is supposed to be 30 miles per hour to be classified as.
Yeah, I believe if it's not posted, I believe the default,
35.
I'm going by memory here, so I could be wrong. I believe the default is 25 miles per hour if there is no signage. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. I could be wrong.
Sure.
But anyways, I would really like to take up the issue of what can we do to make our roads better, and what can we do to make our neighborhood more attractive to both those who live here
Que rid of all the
and
roads.
prospective big money buyers.
Que quite todos los borrachos para que tú veas.
Which will help improve the general condition of the neighborhood. And one more thing is, I do have an issue with the street lighting, because if somebody gets hurt, then we have a finger pointing match over whose responsibility it was to have proper lighting when a 15-year-old girl is waiting for the bus, or, just, God forbid, a tragedy happens. I don't know if you've looked at Facebook lately, there was an attempted child abduction,
Here.
so, yes, here.
So,
We need to move forward and start making some tough choices and some concessions as well, because Montour is nothing without something to make it attractive to prospective buyers. I'm all for our land value going up. I understand taxes increase. We all got homestead exemption, at least most of us, I don't know. But it's expected that it's gonna go up. But, come on guys, give us something for a month. We really need.
Let me interrupt for just 1 second. Because I think you're confusing the tax money that we get with the tax money that the county gets.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the county gets most of our money. We don't get it. That's not our money. We can't spend it, we can't use it, we don't have it.
Okay, so
Just wanna make sure that
how do you acquire
the money that we use here is the lot, what you pay on your lot, the 200 and something dollars
But
an
that
acre.
number has increased.
Just last year.
$35 an acre.
Okay,
Just
Over
last
the
year.
past 20 years.
okay, well, then I would hope that soon we can start to see a little bit of improvement. I'm not bashing you for the
No,
past.
I get it, but
What I'm
I,
saying is, heck, I'll work with you guys. I'll go out there and throw a few shovels myself. You have my cooperation. What I'm saying is, okay, the past is the past. Let's leave it there. Let's try to move forward and make our neighborhood better, better roads, make it attractive for prospective buyers, and see what we can do about the lighting, because that is really important. As more people move in, you don't know who's moving in.
You're absolutely correct.
It could be a rapist, it could be the nicest guy in the world.
Sure.
We do need better lighting, I understand you're on that.
Solar, go solar.
So that's all I really had to say. And like I said, I'm not here to bash anybody,
No, that's fine.
but I really, really think that
Well,
the
okay.
issue of golf carts would really make the residents a lot happier, and it can create revenue for the CCWs.
Good price. And also, thank you, yes, and also, we need for in a minute. As we grow, that is the challenges that we have. So you're absolutely right. So again, if the community thinks that we have all the answers to all the problems, we don't. So again, if you have good suggestions, definitely bring them up. I know Dan is a very good advocate, as well as Mr. Santana, so yes.
Yeah, I studied law for a few years, so
We need help.
I have a slight understanding of it, but
We need help.
I understand. So the measly $35 that we gave you, honestly, I think you should be 50.
Well, the number was 100, but we didn't wanna, the problem is we don't wanna add insult to injury because the county's getting the money, the taxes are going up, we're all paying them, but we're not seeing here. So we're having to adjust ours so we can keep moving, because we have been overwhelmed with growth.
And if
Well,
it's,
nobody understands, we have been overwhelmed with growth.
and if
Now, my
Now, we're in the process
of
of.
permit, now,
Do what?
to clear your lots. Does that permit money go here, or does it go to the county?
And that,
Well, we need to change that.
and that's something that I've been going after the county for. We pay for garbage, like someone brought up, garbage for bulk pickup. We haven't got that. Who's in charge of that contract? Hendry County. Just like mosquito spray. We pay for them to weekly spray. I got the GPS mapping, they only come once every 2 months.
Yeah.
Same thing like deputies, we pay the sheriff's office in taxes to have a minimum of a district here. We only have one that the Hill Foundation pays for. So there's a
Yeah,
lot of
this is
stuff,
ridiculous,
there's a
yeah.
lot of stuff that our 298 doesn't work and we're limited to our power. But when it comes to us batting and going after the county for it, I can assure you that some county commissioners, they don't like getting phone calls from us because the first thing we tell them is, where's our money? And, oh, we
Yeah.
don't got it. Okay, but you're real quick to put a sign, like the new permit signs they put.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about it. Nobody here as a board member, nor did management, and they were up within 24 hours.
Yeah, I
So,
knew that wasn't you guys, because the permits are issued in the city. And
We are Hendry County's cash cow. They're trying to keep us at 298 to keep all of that money going to other places in the county.
Right.
Once we break off of Hendry County, I guarantee you 100%, Montour will be beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
Montour will stay rural like people want it to be, and the elected officials at that time, whatever Montour moves to, you won't have the problems you have now.
yeah, I hope so, you know, so, good luck. Hopefully, the measly $35 will help a little bit, you know?
It does.
Okay, you know, I don't mind paying a little more to get a little more, you know, I'm fine with that. At least think about the golf cart issue, it's a big attraction, and we all live here, who doesn't want to enjoy fresh air, you know? Without the traffic, so.
Thank you. You want to speak on the damages to vehicles, the question he asked?
I did have that question because I have a lot of my clients actually. I always
Por eso es que la hora lo van a ver así. En ese también, mira, una solo, solar. Entonces también
I had
una
one car,
mosquita, se absoluta.
literally had a rock.
Pasa una mosquita, vuelve a vivir otra vez.
She made $600
Porque
an hour.
es solar,
And it's been my
pero se mantiene
experience
encendido
that
el tiempo,
whoever's
se
in charge
pone
of maintaining the
lleno.
roads is also in
Y
charge
cuando
of
pasa algo se pone
damage.
fuerte otra vez. Entonces,
You know, I don't want that to come across as a threat because it's not. But I want you to understand that there are things that should be priority. They should really be priority, you know, and, you know, roads, golf carts, entertainment, make our neighborhood attractive. Believe me, you're not gonna be getting much complaints. Everybody's happy, you know, so we gotta find some middle ground here.
True.
Where we can all
I'm
be
not
happy.
complaining no more.
Okay? Thanks.
You'll speak on it? You'll speak? Then go for it. So,
It's okay.
next,
Ya, me pagaron
Sharon
por todo
Martino, you would.
ya pasó una hora. No, hay que cobrar ahora. Una hora. 6:48. Sí, hay que cobrar ahora.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Sharon Martino. I live at 170 South Kimmel Street. I have watched the CCW meeting that took place on 8/25, 21. In my opinion, Ismael Ramos was treated unfairly and unjustified trespassed against. He was telling the truth of the sexual harassment report. He was not loud or being disrespectful to the board members and was falsely arrested. I didn't see a vote on the trespass. So in closing, Ismael Ramos should be allowed to have the no trespassing order removed.
We'll wait for the attorney to get back, he'll speak on that. Next, we have Mr. Gonzalez.
I would like to see Deputy Dominguez, who is speaking what the president says.
That's an open case. We still haven't finalized it. We can't talk about it. The state attorney is filing the charges and they're going to prosecute him, so I can't say anything about that yet.
Good afternoon, board. It's really happy to be back. It's been a long while I haven't been back. Thank you for this. I want to go ahead and second what Nelson just mentioned. And talking about the golf carts, the roads, and the ATVs. I came out here today because being in Montura, I spent a lot of money, like many people did, buying ATVs and enjoying the way of life out here. Enjoying the way of life. My kids had a great time when they were out here. They don't want to come back out here anymore because they can't ride the ATVs. So now we're enjoying our golf cart inclusive. We're paying a sticker, we pay a permit, and we enjoy riding out there inclusive, as many folks do as well in Placo. As Montura progresses, things continue to change. We're going to turn blue in our faces. We are going to turn blue in our faces talking about this ATV issue and the golf cart issue every time there's a meeting. Since I was on the board, it's continuously been mentioned. I've had great meetings with many people, but as Montura continues to grow, we want to make it enjoyable for the people that are coming, whether it's from Miami, West Palm Beach, New Jersey, like Santana says all the time. Yeah, that too. Well, anybody who wants to come out here and enjoy it, I think they should enjoy it. Okay? The ATV issue is going to continue. We're going to turn blue in the face. Now, going forward is, I want to ride ATVs out here. Central County is doing their job fixing the roads. It's their job. They're going to go out there and fix it. They're just not going to sit there in the office and drink coffee all day. I've seen the guys doing their work out there. How much can they do? What's the square mileage here again in Montura? I'm sorry? 10. Square mileage in Montura? 136 miles. 136 miles. I challenge anybody in here to go ahead and do those roads on a daily basis. There's water. There's the garbage trucks. There's trucks that people drive on. So it's not just the ATVs. It's not just the golf carts. It's not just the people from Miami. It's rural. So if a rock gets into a radiator and it breaks and all that, buddy, when you moved to Montura, you knew it was rural. They didn't sell it to you on a paved road. They sold it to you as rural. So why would we want to change it? Why do we want to change it? At the end of the day, what I do ask, because you guys are going to get tired. This is not, you guys are going to continue getting bashed on this, on Facebook. You're going to continue getting bashed.
We don't care about Facebook.
Well, at the end of the day, that's why I say, that's why I call them, keyboard warriors at the end of the day. So, going forward, we're going to have elections now. 2022. Every time we have elections, there's amendments on there. Okay? There's amendments on there. So I asked the board tonight. I'm trying to make sure I get some kind of board on here so you understand what's going on. What I'm asking is tonight to consider to get this over with. Okay, we're talking about our roads. I'm not talking about the reservoir. Okay, eventually the reservoir needs to get open. Okay, eventually it will get open.
It is open.
So it's open for riding already? No, not for ATV.
You gotta be specific. It's open.
For ATV, right?
Go
ahead.
There's wetlands in there, okay? But again, going forward as we progress, there's a vote coming up, 2022, October. I ask that you guys make a motion, think about this, because we're gonna continue getting blue in the face on this. Put it so the community, because you have a divided community here in Monterey. It is divided. So the community.
Nationwide.
What the heck are you talking about nationwide? We're in
I'm
Monterey.
talking about nationwide, it's divided.
No, nationwide, no, we're in Monterey. We're talking about Monterey, not nationwide. It's an insurance company. So what happens is that let's put this to a vote, a community vote, where the landowners will decide whether we let ATVs back out on the road, whether we let the residents, the landowners decide whether we let ATVs back out on the road in Monterey. Let them decide, because again, guys, we're going back and forth on this on a monthly basis. Let them decide. Take this off your shoulders. This has been coming back since before you were all elected on this board. Before, this has nothing to do with you guys. Okay, this started a long way back ago. Okay, the ATV issue was not with you guys. The officers are doing their job. If Henry County if Central County implemented an ordinance for Henry County to take care of the roads and no ATVs on the roads, no golf carts on the roads, no any type of recreational vehicle on the road, that's what they get paid for. That's their job. Whether they criticize them or not, it's their job. But again, guys, all I ask, let the community vote on that. Let the landowners vote on it. Now, they decide, yes, the ATVs are back out on the road.
You gotta bring it to a close, man.
If the ATVs are back out on the road,
Well, let me say something to
and if the ATVs are back out on the road and the roads are damaged, listen, they voted on it already. Okay? Not yet.
Yeah, that's what it is. I don't want to.
Mr. Emilio will continue doing his job. And
Hey, you have to go with 3 minutes.
Yo no quiero que me lo rape
Thank you.
la eso mía.
Thank you.
Yo no quiero que el four-wheeler me desbaraten la carretera mía. Yo cogí uno haciendo un donut.
Please, please. So, Mr. Gonzalez, we're listening to you. I have two board members that want to speak, but in reference to your question, if you look at the agenda, it's going to be spoken and voted on. See,
Thank you, sir, but again, like I said, take that into consideration.
we always take everything into consideration. That's all we're here for. Danny, you have the floor. You have a question. Or you have a comment.
No, I had a comment, a follow-up comment to what you said. Absolutely. You know, it has been an issue regardless of me even running. It was something that I was gonna fight for. And when I got elected and I sat on this seat, I was told what my legal obligations are and what I can do in my four walls. And since meeting 3, we brought it up to submit it to the state, and as of this meeting, we got a direct answer of a yes or no. So the subject was brought up. We addressed the subject in the manner that we know, black and white. Black and white is what makes the world go round, unless it's a dollar. And as an elected official, I did my part in getting with our attorney to notify the state if we were legally allowed to allow it, as well as allow the county, whatever it may be, to get those answers. And pertain to the reservoir, that's another issue. You know, we had to get legal counsel on. So the subject matter of it is we're working at it, but the process of it happening overnight, it doesn't work like that in government. It takes years, probably before I'm even on here still, you know, until we get a direct answer to allowing to see them. Because of our 298, the way we have to process it. But with that being said, it hasn't been an issue when you were on the board as well as off the board that we continue to fight.
And again, I'm sorry, Daniel, like you said, the 298 does not work anymore.
It's not a back and forth thing. You have the floor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Hey, Mr. Gonzalez, let me tell you. The riding of the ATVs on the Central County roads, state prohibits. In the whole state of Florida, riding ATVs on pavement roads. There is no Central County law. There is no Henry County law. That's the state of Florida law. Applies to South Florida, applies to Miami-Dade County, applies to all the 60 counties in the state of Florida. So that's why We have the sheriff here, the deputy from Henry County, enforcing the laws in Central County. Stay low. Now we know we can do about it. Right, Mr. Dominguez? No, 6 hours ago. Or you say,
Yeah, it's true, it's a state law.
Yes, something?
Yeah. Yes, it's about the AT, the 4-wheelers. What are we gonna do? Someone like me, that they just fix my road. I don't want nobody destroying it because I caught a kid in front of my house with a brand new, all these guys that are moving down here, that they have money and buying those little brats, new to 18-wheeler, they don't teach him to do it right. He was doing a donut in the middle of my street and breaking it.
No clapping.
Well, how about me? Who's gonna protect me? I sold my 18-wheelers because I didn't want no problems. And then here they come. I mean, okay, you got a lot of people, adults, that they don't care. Hey, listen, I'm gonna give you the 18-wheeler, but do it right. No, come on, my son, go ahead, live it up.
and you live here, and you live here.
Yes, I do.
She lives in a problematic road, as a matter of fact. And I totally agree with you. I totally agree with the whole community. We're torn in between two things. We're wrong if we go this way, we're wrong if we go that way. We're wrong if we confine people, we're wrong if we let people loose. We're trying to find that balance, community. It's very tough. It's very tough.
They need to be told.
Whoa, no outbursts, brother, no outbursts. Please, no outbursts. But I agree with you. There are rules. And you know what? I'm going to tell you the strangest thing. You know why we have rules out here? Because we can't do what's right. You know why we have guards out there? You know why we spend money out there? Because we have no honor system. We have no honor system out here. They were tearing up. I tell you what, the people from the outside were tearing up our community pretty much. But also there are people within the community, including myself. I enjoyed it for many years, right? And I have 4-wheelers and I would enjoy to ride again. But again, it's going to be a tough decision tonight, but it is for us to vote on to drive on the right-of-ways. It will be a tough decision, but hopefully we'll find out what our board says about it. But I totally agree. And so, with what you're saying, this gentleman is preaching to us. Mr. Mata, this passes, then you're going to cry to me, they tore up Dado again, right? We got to go fix Dado for the 100th time. We got to go fix this one for the 100th time. So again, there's the balance. And then we're going to call Mr. Dominguez and Sheriff Whitney, hey, you need to enforce the law out there. Or then you have some people, which, thank God they're no longer doing what they used to do. They used to come on Friday nights, jam till 3 o'clock in the morning, ride that bank, wake all my dogs up and wake all the neighbors' dogs up, and all the hardworking people that live here that work on a Saturday and Sunday. Because again, they have rights to their property owners as well. So again, to have that balance, if you have suggestions, if you have solutions, that's what we need. But also we need that balance, and that's what's going to be tough. But I agree. I moved out here to enjoy the country. The ATV, UTV, whatever those things are called. And a person that can afford that, I think they can do the right thing. Now,
Can I make a comment?
we got to a meeting. I'm sorry. You want to follow? Hurry up, please.
Where do you live exactly?
She lives on Kennel.
Me? Kennel, but it's perfect now, but it was destroyed. I had the kid do a donut, and I screamed, "What are you doing?" He kept on doing it till I got into the car to follow him. He disappeared.
I'm going to give you a recap. There was an individual who waited on the list for their road to get done, because we have a lot of roads. The road got done. That following weekend, same scenario happened. That individual didn't call the sheriff's office, they called Central County to complain. And they said, hey, someone the other day was doing donuts in my road, what are you guys going to do about it? So I spoke with Flacco that following meeting, said, hey, you know, this is out of our norm, but can you go look at the road? When he went to go look at the road, yeah, it was damaged from the ATV and the 4-wheeler. So they followed up, and they ended up fixing it or repairing it or repatching it. And that same following weekend, it happened again. So I took it out of my time to see where these individuals lived. They lived on the home behind that individual's home. And when I asked them, I said, you know you're not allowed to ride ATVs and 4-wheelers around here. they honestly told me, well, I don't care. That's what I bought this property out here for. I'm gonna do whatever I wanna do. And I replied back with, okay, you know, that's your belief, that's what you wanna do, that's your system of mindset. And it all comes back to us being within our four walls. Some people feel, yes, I buy this property here, like me, I was elected through general. So you don't have to be a landowner to vote for me. As long as you're 18 and you live here in Montour, you can vote for me as well as this seat. These are landowners. So with the landowners, they have more of a mindset of just speaking for the landowner and the people who own land. I have to speak for a majority of everyone. And when I ended up speaking with not just that family, I spoke with a few other families around, they all told me that those individuals are the ones that just have the mindset where they just feel like they can do whatever they want. And what I said was, if we can come to a middle ground, like Mr. Nelson said, come to a middle ground so we all can have fun, that's the different understanding. When we don't have that respect in place, like these rules and these regulations that the sheriff's office enforces, then people have free range to do whatever they want. So it's not that the board or anybody in particular says no to the subject, but on the other side of the fence, we do have to have rules. There does need to be set in place to assure that your road doesn't get messed up, to assure that when you go home or you drive home, you have a nice, perfectly dirt road to drive on.
It's happened to me too. It's happened to me. Same. Yes.
Yo quisiera tener una moto, pero imagínate, yo no lo rompo, pero por ahí.
I was wondering if poll watchers would be there, each candidate have poll watchers. I don't know if that's a motion, John, that the board have to do, or if that's really something within the legislature to be able to do, or legislation.
So typically, I've been told this for decades, the board would hire a CPA firm that would come and oversee the process. The ballot box would be maintained by them. There'd be a chain of custody, and that ballot box is touched and be brought to a room. The ballots would only be touched by the CPA firm that was hired by the board. I understand it's been done forever. In fact, the firm that did it for almost 30 years declined to do it again after the last fiasco. But yeah, if the board wants, you could set up some rules so that the observers, just like with a normal election, they have to stay in a certain area so that they could observe the vote count, the vote placement, and then the vote counting process. You have the ability to put something like that in place.
Yeah, but do y'all have anything in place right now that y'all could give us?
I did speak with Brenda about it because of this seat, and she said that we have to pay her, and she'll oversee the whole for the landowners as well as this seat because it's a special election.
That must be new because I begged her.
But we don't have to beg. They pay taxes just like I told the county commissioners, the sheriff. As long as we pay and we go along with the process, she has to do it. It's her legal obligation.
Brenda Hoots told me in no uncertain terms, I do not want to have anything to do.
Want and have to are two different things.
Because remember, it's not a general election.
It is not a, yes, but it's
we're
still.
talking about, he's talking, Mr. Daniel's talking about vacant seat that we have.
But listen, I would love, I would applaud having the supervisor elections come and have her staff oversee the whole process. I think that would be amazing.
She said they'll do
I
it.
tried, I couldn't get it. Get it right, you can do it. I think that would be amazing. Honestly, I didn't want anybody around this table, around the staff, having anything to do with the voting process.
Another thing too is, whenever they ask for the people that pay the land tax, the landowners prior, it was done months before, and there's a lot of landowners that they sold a lot of property prior, and there's a lot of votes that they did get that they shouldn't have got. And plus, we know that there was fake names that was actually put in too, that was county. And 172 pavilions, so it's not to be on the
Because we just had an election with these guys.
Right, but we just want to make sure that this doesn't come back around, it's the same way like right now, what do y'all have in place?
I think we did something. You're talking about the landowners from
Correct.
years ago.
Yes.
Where these gentlemen won, it was,
Yeah, him and.
what was the company?
It was Miss,
Oh, yeah.
But there was no issue with you guys in the election, was
Mine was held by Brenda.
No, violation.
Swindle did the landlord.
Listen, if Brenda will do them all, it's the best way to go.
Yep.
What was it gonna mean?
How about when
She said, this is her exact word. Her exact word said, after the last incident, she doesn't want to be involved in it. And I nicely replied back with, if we pay for it, it's your legal obligation to do it, yes or no? And she said, yes, it's my legal obligation. So I said, I think that's the process we need to go. So no one in the community or no one could say, hey, it was this or that. It was held by a supervisor, but like,
I've said that since the day I came on this board, 20-something years ago, and they've never moved on.
I actually went to her office to check up about this seat being on the ballot, and they said that they still have not received any kind of funding from us to start the process. So that's how you know.
When I've had questions about the elections, help me call the division of elections. And again, I'm they control the whole process. That would be a lot. Sure.
But one of the issues, I mean, another elections, I'll make a motion, another elections has always been a huge issue for many years, and just recently, up here, 5-6 years back, found out that a lot of stuff incorrect. And I think we need to kind of put more of a hard line on it. The same thing, we have a former board member that moved out of here and tried to keep the same seat, and once the state got involved in stuff, it stopped there. And that's something that I think the board, I don't know if you have to go through legislation, or something has to be done, because if that ever happens again, you just can't leave a seat, just abandon that on people. It's just to bring everything
No,
together.
the governor's office has this, as of right now, the governor can send a letter to John or whoever from Central County saying that he's filling the seat in. Once Rowley resigned July 15th or June, I can't remember off the top of my head, once he resigned, the board, that following meeting, before 30 days, we had to say either we're appointing someone, we're either having a special election, or something. We didn't. So the law states after that time, it's the governor's job. So it's already sent to his office, he's already notified about it, but there is a roster of 298 other elected officials that he has to fill, that we are so low at the bottom of the line that he's gonna wait until another election or a special election to fill it. So that's where we're at.
Here's the other thing, to be transparent. If we feel that position, they're gonna say, oh my God, you put that person in. So again, allow the system to take care of the system. Let the system figure it out. That's Brenda Hoop's responsibility, as he said.
Right.
That's what they pay her, and that's what she should do. But that's a great point. What was your next point? You have anything?
The other thing is the main office, I believe, is closed due to COVID restrictions.
The main office, no, the main office is still open. They come to a certain area. It's open. It's open.
Yeah,
Monday.
well, because if I want to go in there and view documents and stuff, it's like here.
Here, this officer?
Well, because see, we're.
You guys got me with the document.
No, I did, but I wasn't allowed to. I went in there and they told me that they wasn't allowed because of COVID. But the thing is, it doesn't make sense, and it's a disservice to the community, because if we want to go in there and view documents, we can't. But the clubhouse is open, it's not closed. They don't have COVID restriction. We're here.
What documents do you want to view? What documents do you want to view so we can get them, so you can have them?
I got a lot. I mean,
just get with the officers here in this room.
Yeah,
And maybe bring them in this room with somebody, that's fine.
Yeah, well, they could just come up with something, so if that's what we want to do, we can do it.
Let's do something like that.
Yeah, but it's just a solution, just to where they just can't say, well, you can't be here. And that's it.
Well, no.
We want to welcome
They have to allow access to public records. It doesn't have to be in that office.
Right. Okay, this speech right here.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, well, that's good.
And if it has to do with COVID, they say wear a mask and, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I just wonder, because here, there's no COVID worry here, the manager and the secretary's here, then at the clubhouse, nobody is open. I just think that this doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're finished with the public comments. Now we're gonna get into the whole business. And thank you, community, for coming out. Thank you for voicing your concerns and bringing stuff to our attention. We actually greatly appreciate it. Old and new business, discuss and vote on contract C-139 drainage and adjacent property. If I'm not mistaken, Remy, can you bring me up to speed? Is that the one up front?
No, that's
Oh, the one in the back, yes, you're right. Mr. Bennett, can you discuss about it? That's what I thought. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one up front. The one on Hacienda.
Have you received it? You haven't received it? Okay. You might have to table that for the next meeting. I gotta call it because I gave it to them a while back ago.
Okay. So in reference to this one, so some of the audience might not know, that one rainstorm that came through, we got pounded really, really good. What we found out is the water was so strong that it breached the canal area. Is that canal number 1 or canal number 2?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. So everybody that lived downstream of 1 and 2 were pounded pretty good. So our thing is, and most of us rode in there on his side and took videos. Water was coming in like crazy from that area. So we tried to figure out if that's our responsibility, is it his responsibility? Do we shore up? Say you can't put it over here. Is there any type of legal contract that we have? So that's what we're making reference to. I think Mr. Alvarez has met with the owner and come to some kind of solution that whatever funding, whatever type of funding, he would pay us a certain amount per year, and we would allow some type of into our
We
water.
can't stop it from draining on the property, number 1.
Correct, John, something like that?
Like a drafted agreement between him and Central County, where he would pay us, I think it was $2,500 a year. Because when we went back and looked at the old drainage map, sure enough, his parcel is part of our drainage basin. So historically, it drained into Central County. Now, he doesn't pay taxes to Central County, which is why I drafted the agreement, because he should pay money to help maintain the system. We came up with $2,500 as a starting point. Benny's been talking to him, and we're struggling to get him
So we'll table that to the next meeting if possible. Next one would be discuss and vote on employee starting pay rates.
Como pasa el presidente.
Thank you. Okay, I want to make a motion to increase starting salary for the Central County employees, and the county employees, especially in clubhouse, all maintenance employees, or employees that are locally here in Central County, which will be $14 an hour to start and $15 an hour after 90 days. Also, the heavy equipment operators will start at $18 an hour and after 90 days, $19 an hour. That's my motion.
Do we have, thank you for that motion, before we even put it to vote. Do we know how many it will affect, how many employees it will affect?
I'll ask you to analyze what the impact of this is to our attorney. Everybody has in their book, you decide to cover it, something that looks like this.
Oh, that's what that was, okay.
So there's 2 pages. One says direct increases, and one says includes potential increases to existing employees. So what we did on our direct increases is it shows each employee what their position is in that third column of the current pay rate. So everybody that was going to be impacted, and I didn't do the 90 days, I think it was too much calculation. I went with the regular after the 90 days. So everybody that was going to be impacted by $15 and $19, it shows that on the proposed new rate.
Oye, bien, el contador.
Shows the amount of increase.
El contador.
and what percent increase is, and then what that would be on an annual basis. I'm reading across the column. Annual increase in salaries, that's what the base state go up. Then you've got the Social Security, Medicare that's related to it, and the Florida retirement system, you pay in 10.82% salary. So it's the total annual increase there. So what we're calculating is the direct impact of this just on new employees is about $60,578. But then you've got to consider the fact that if you are starting out people at this pay, the people who have been working here and have some skills and so forth are going to expect to be increased, so as to not be making the same thing as somebody just starting off. So that's where the second page comes in. Benio and Becky showed what they estimated other employees might expect as a comparable increase. That's the proposed new rate on that second sheet. If you compare it to the first sheet, it says $15 and $19 in the proposed new rate.
And this is still with our benefits that we offer them, paid by our office.
Right, that has.
They have no benefits.
I'm sorry?
The employees of Central County have no benefits.
They have health insurance, right?
They have health insurance.
Central County employees?
They have
The
401.
family of Central County employees, they have health insurance?
Not the family. The employees are covered fully, 100%.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about salary increase. This is no, what you mentioned here, is
No,
not
but we
what
pay
I'm
for
talking about. I'm talking about salary increase.
Yes, but we still pay for that.
But whenever you raise somebody's salary, it raises their social security.
I think with the yo-yo manipulating what I'm saying here. I'm saying family, I'm saying salary increase. I'm not talking about the health insurance of the employees.
No, that was the question that I asked because
Yeah, well, that's
the
not-
the 103K
That is not the
is
motion
not
that I put on
added
the
with
floor.
those as well.
The motion
What
that I
we
put on the
pay.
floor is to salary increase to the employees.
What he's trying
That's
to
what he's showing
explain.
you. It's a salary increase, that's what it's gonna cost.
They're talking about health.
No, this is what we're talking about now, right here. Right here. When you look at this, it's gonna cost this, but you give these guys money, now these guys.
Está hablando del salario de la gente. Está hablando de un salario de
He was talking
trabajador.
about, yeah.
Health insurance is separate.
I never mentioned talking about health. What he's saying is, if someone's making this much, and another person's making this much, he's been here 10 years, they've been here 5 years. If you move him up, he has to be moved up. You
Absolutely.
can't just move the bottom number up. You have to
Señor.
move all the numbers.
Let me tell you one thing, I'm making a motion on the floor. Do a salary increase of the clubhouse employees, of the mainline employees, $14 an hour, and $15 an hour after that. Every group of employees, $18 an hour to start with, and $19 an hour after 90 days. You changing what I'm saying, right? You changing. This is the motion on the floor. You're bringing all these numbers here, I'm bringing it up. Oh, you have to pay 103,000 more dollars.
For over a year with.
No, you don't have to do this. It's like you put it back in, they don't have to do this. They only have to bring the salary increase. What I'm asking is to the clubhouse employees and the maintenance employees, $14 an hour and $15 an hour after 90 days, and to the heavy equipment operators, $18 an hour, and 90 days after, $19 an hour. Okay? And you bring it back here, a different thing. It has nothing to do with the motion I'm putting on the floor right now. This is manipulating, excuse me, this is manipulating all this here to make it, don't pass the motion. Don't do it. The salary increase to employees because they don't have to pay $100,000. That's what I'm saying.
Santana, can I say something for a second? What he's trying to explain, don't get me wrong, again, I'm in favor of what you say. I'm just gonna clarify what, you need to let him explain it to you, that's what he's trying to do. Okay, so what he's saying is, once you increase somebody's salaries, all the payments for the FRS and all that, it goes up.
Okay.
With that increase. That's the other.
But that doesn't mean they have to pay all the other employees that are here for so many years, you have to increase the salary to them. That's up to you to evaluate them and decide who should have the salary increase. If you think an employee he's been here for 10 years and he should have a salary increase, give him the increase. He deserves it. But don't mix one thing with the other. When you're mixing,
Well, you know, we can do this all night long.
Un empleado que lleve 10 años aquí y hay uno que lleva 5 y el 5 hace 3 de esos, hace 10 años, pues no lo aumento, aumento por 5 años, tienen que aumentar por el trabajo. Y bueno, imagínate, por eso es lo que está pasando aquí. Ninguno hace nada y todo con el aumento.
The clubhouse, Central County Water Control, and to the maintenance employees, they're making $14 an hour to start with, and after 90 days, $50. Every equipment operations employees will start $18 an hour. And after 90 days, $90.
Alright, so we have a motion on the floor from Board Member Santana to raise the clubhouse employees to $14 an hour. After that, 90 days, raise them to 15. Also, and the equipment operators start paying at 18 after 90 days to 19. There's a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Motion does not pass.
Antes yo pasaba, mira, yo pasaba por McDonald's y yo decía, la gente incluso no le gusta cocinar. Ahora sí que está vacío. Vacío. ¿Tú sabes dónde yo la compro? En la tribu de los indios que estaba. Al 30 y pico, la India le pasa a la gente y la cojo a 97. Al 27 que digo. Un camión.
Drainage and recreation. And if we
Manilula subió ridículo. Está 350 y pico.
look at the charter, I think we can make an argument that this is, that having a fair or a festival is related to recreation. It's, you know, oh here, okay. So, in the, so, you know, there's no law, there's no attorney general that addresses the issue. If you look in section 289.22.12, it says, Central County may construct, manager, or authorize construction management of resource-related recreational facilities. That doesn't give us much, that's in the statute, but in our charter, it says CCWCD can construct, acquire by donation or purchase recreational facilities and areas, including related facilities, and to construct, operate, and maintain such recreation and related facilities for the benefit of district residents. So I think we can take that little whole and we can push that carnival festival idea right into it. That's something you want to pursue.
So we have a motion on the floor. Last meeting, I put a motion on the floor, as we well know, is during this time of the year now to, I think, April, May, all the communities around us have festivals. Sugar Fest, Brown Sugar, Sour Orange, Black Gold, Chalanica, all those things. What we're trying to do this fiscal year, May 21st, I believe it was Becky that proposed, that we start some type of festival once a year, small, and it'll grow into something. Hopefully we have something every year from that, and it will be something that we can be proud of. So that motion is on the floor. Can we get a second? There's a second. All in favor? Anybody denied? Motion carries.
Anybody do that?
Yes, sir.
I didn't.
All right, for the record, we have 3 yeas and 1 nay.
So the next step will be to have a contract with the company send it to the board. Now, if you agree on the concept, now we gotta come up with the details.
I have 2 companies that they gave us a date. It wasn't May, it was December, because they said nowhere in the state of Florida there's a festival during December. But they said that they can give us a quote for December as well as a quote for May, whichever one benefits our district or our area to bring revenue back in.
And, Mr. Chair, I'd like to say one more thing, that Daniel at the last meeting also asked me to look into whether we could enter into an agreement with, let's say, Nike for
Oh, yes.
signage, rights and all of that, and the answer is yes, we can.
You just have to see the contract, right?
Yeah, that's the contract. The issue is for them to have a private for sale facility. That would be problematic on the recreational grounds.
What we discussed was that they can't have a physical building or structure, so they have a portable semi-truck trailer that's a store. So when we held events, any event at the clubhouse, per their requirement on their contract is they're required that they can sell.
And they'd be paying for that right.
Yeah. Okay. So that's basically what they're
If
saying.
they're not paying, then others are gonna say, well, wait a minute, I'm gonna go and sell chickens.
They're basically investing into the park. You're looking at almost $2.3 million that they're looking to invest into the park, with signage and saying it, sponsored by Nike, into an agreement that every event that's held at the clubhouse, they're allowed to be there to sell Nike merchandise. That's their agreement.
We just have to see the contract. Anything else on that, Mr. Chair? No, sir. Also, on the select body, we had
El correo, lo que hicieron en el correo, los chinas hicieron en el correo ese, que es súper disparate, 2 personas no se pueden parar ahí en el correo, 2 personas no se pueden parar ahí.
There was an incident about something that happened on the swell. We talked about it, we discussed it. It's just like the road, something start on it. The manager can't have, he has to have a directive of the board, to fully function and take that on. We have, from a percentage, how many roads can you say we need?
every single one of them.
So we're looking at now, we're going back and, repairing and patching up, some of the roads. But I think we need a full force with the team and management and start digging out these swells and start that project. Before we get hit again. We already fixed our roads and we're repairing going on that, but I think the manager needs a directive to start cutting the swells to the elevation. So it can sustain our roads.
We just gotta start easy, because not enough money to do everything. The swells, while they're not perfect, well done roads.
The thing is,
And we bought equipment, so we do 1 year, 1 there, and
that's exactly it.
we have the influxes.
So it's, until the money situation's fixed, ain't nothing gonna get better. Y'all know that. So
we
all
have,
that being said.
all right, so we have a motion on the floor.
Before, can I say something?
Go right ahead.
If you guys are gonna take over the swell project, I want you guys to be aware that As you guys can see, we're doing a lot of different projects. We calculated that every quarter-mile road on both sides is gonna take about 4 days to do. With at least 5 or 6 employees. And it's gonna take about $40,000 every quarter-mile. The question is this, which is always been the same question. It should be a vote. This is my personal opinion. You guys it's always, you guys vote that we are responsible for people's poverty, or for landowners' poverty. So by us taking the project 12 step by step, slowly, are we replacing the swells for free, or are we responsible for the covers, or that's the main problem there?
We talked about it. We're in charge of water control. And I hit the subject very big. If we start the swell project and we come to a culvert that is clogged, damaged, whatever it may be, we will do what we are legally obligated to do within our 4 walls. We will give them a notice that the office can draft up stating from this time to this time, we will be at your road to work on your culvert. You need to work on your swells. If your culvert does not comply with your culvert will, that's something that management and the team will develop to present these landowners that have messed up culverts. Now the culverts that are fine, that got approved by our office, there will be no problem. We'll move on to the next one. But we have, like I said, we have to start, and that's our process of starting. We're not paying for it. When you bought your property, it was your responsibility. So that's how we're gonna address it, like everywhere else.
And we are perfect with that. But
And a lot of these culverts were damaged by Central County mowing the.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that no more.
As a
You
board,
just can't outburst. Sorry.
Can't what, do what?
You can't outburst. I have to
Oh.
get it right there. Sorry. Just please, if you want to speak, and just give us the.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
They were damaged.
I'm just saying, brother, if you would, go block please.
well, I totally agree with you, like, we see in the office and we talk about it, but the board already voted that we're not responsible for it. So the board, a board needs to go back and vote again that we are responsible for the cover. The thing is that once we take a cover out, somebody's gonna go to the driveway, so we have to put it back in.
Of course. Where's John? John left?
That's where it gets complicated.
That's why
So I have to put it back. So is that gonna be paid? Is that
That's
gonna
why
be free?
we give
Is
them
that
a notice date and a deadline to fix their culvert. It is their responsibility to fix it, okay? From that time frame. From that time frame. Let's say February 1st and February 20th, probably a month, 4 weeks. We'll give them 4 weeks that they have to fix their culvert. If they notify the office with that notice saying, hey, I need a little bit extra time, no problem. That's on our end to document that. But if we get nothing back, they say, oh, it's not my problem, I'm not fixing it, and it passes that due date without them saying, hey, I need help or whatever, you will rip out that culvert. There are other 298 that have done this. There are other districts that have done this. Why? Because they are in charge of water control. We cannot stay on this system of, oh, we have none. It is their, responsibility as a landowner. And it's our responsibility to ensure the safety of our roads, as well as our swells are up to code and up to date. So that's what we have to do. Simple as that.
I do have another question. What are we gonna do when we get a beautiful concrete cover?
The beautiful what?
Beautiful
Concrete cover, like for example, the one on both sides.
what?
There's a few culvert. Yeah, there's a few, but how are you guys gonna handle that problem?
If they're,
We have to send them a letter because we're in charge of the right of way, correct?
No, that's correct. But are we replacing?
How do we know it's not done right?
yeah.
Daniel said, if you don't replace,
No.
we don't replace. Yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but I mean,
If it's wrong, it's
let's say the pipe is brand new, like the one on both sides.
And who passed the permit?
But it passed.
If we
It's
pass
a
the
double
permit,
entry. It's a double entry, but we only require line rock or mill. So when we get to a beautiful double entry driveway that has 8 inches of concrete on it, are we replacing the concrete or we just putting line rock on it?
no, if the culvert passed the inspection and it.
The homeowner, what he's trying to say is,
yeah.
that passed, Daniel, the homeowner went, after that passed, the homeowner went and put concrete, 4 inches concrete from his property all the way to the road.
With a permit or without a permit?
But what he
We
said,
don't replace
so
concrete.
what we're hoping is that it does pass. The great thing about that property is that you're talking about, it's on Ball Cypress.
Right.
That's where the water starts. It should move, right? Now, if that driveway was further down that road, on that one inner road, I think that would be an issue, but we probably, well, see, that's not ours, is that? It's us, we probably need to tell our constituents, hey, you know, you're taking a risk by doing it.
You gotta
It looks
go-
good, I think it looks great.
You gotta go halfway this side and halfway that side.
Your property line is to here, from here, that's the right of way. Can you correct us on that, Mr. Bennett, before?
I just wanna get the details so
I totally agree.
we know what we do when we get to, you know.
Mr. Bennett, how do you see that when we come to those, because we do have some very nice driveways out here that has come onto our right of way. I'm pretty sure you've addressed this in the past somewhere.
Yeah, well, I think it depends on what you know. The obligation to replace it,
It shouldn't be there in the first place, should it?
My thoughts on it,
Gotcha. Hurry up right quick.
All right, didn't they pass inspection, didn't they request inspection when they poured that concrete on there?
No.
Then it's a liability, then I mean, it's their responsibility.
Who's gonna determine whether you're about that?
Well, that's a
I
good,
might think my pop.
that's
gonna have that taken?
that's a good question, and that's what we have the surveyor and stuff like that, because again, we don't know if it's right. We want to make sure that it's right, that we, wherever that delineation is it from the crown of the road, on the paved roads, wherever we shoot that, that's what has to be delineated, what's really back. Because again, I see permits, 1 foot, cut 2 feet. That ain't.
Yeah, nothing's been there. Mine's been there 29 years.
And that's why I keep telling everybody, with the growth that we have and the more people coming in, one culvert's over here, one culvert's over there, like that. So again, we need to lay it right. And it's gonna be a mistake. It's gotta start. That's it.
What about asphalt? What about asphalt? If it's asphalt, you're putting the asphalt
Well,
back?
I think asphalt, as far as millings, that is approved.
So you break my driveway, that hole there,
No,
you're not
no.
gonna have asphalt?
Well,
Millings is approved.
yes, milling and line road.
Yeah.
But he's
The only
talking about asphalt.
What are you talking, milling asphalt, or are you talking about you lay
I have
asphalt?
asphalt,
But
like a
again-
road, like a road.
Right, but once you come onto the right of way, that's when you kind of made a mistake.
Why is that? Everybody has it the
It's
same.
It's the right of way.
But do you have milling or you have asphalt?
Asphalt, up to the road.
Okay, we
So
don't,
if you're,
we don't
but
do
I think
asphalt.
you live
we do
off the
milling.
main road though, right?
Yeah.
So I
And it
think,
passed inspection when
Yeah.
I did the
but
asphalt.
I think you would fall under the scenario that I told them. That probably would be easier to work with, like, but if you had that down a side road, let's just say for instance, down
No.
Breda or something like that.
It's on
and you
your
were-
brother.
Yes, but I'm just saying, if you lived off a side road, off a main road, then you turn on the side road and you were further down, and let's just say your elevation was wrong, that would be a tough decision to be made. But those are the issues that we're having to tackle. Any more questions? So you have a motion on the floor?
So going back to what Daniel was saying, so if the person doesn't repair the cover on 10
by their
days,
deadline.
we just take that cover out and we don't put nothing back.
And we'll work it it out with the attorney to write a letter if we have to.
So our 298 has legal authority to do that when it comes to water control.
I just wanted to make sure
We're giving them the paperwork, the time frame to get it done. If they can't get it done, let's say it's finances, and they need more time, as long as we're notified about it, their culvert will stay standing. But if they're not working at it, and they're not doing anything, and they're being delinquent, we rip it out.
Please. Can I ask you a question? So, just so I want to understand the process. I buy a lot, I come to you, and I want to put in a driveway. Put a culvert under that driveway.
That's past inspection.
So, that's what I'm getting. So what does inspection mean? Does a culvert have an invert elevation? It does. So somebody shoots that elevation and says, yep, that culvert's good. And then there's a driveway that goes on top of that culvert.
That's where it should not happen. Because you can't really put a driveway, and you can, people have done it, but you really can't put it on the right of way to the road.
Right, because
You take a chance by doing that, because that's really legally not required.
I rewrote the permits a few years ago because our permits were a joke. Before they weren't even permits. It was an application and there was really no permit. We now have a permit that has conditions on it. Please read that. Has anybody read that? Okay, there's a ton of conditions on there that give us authority.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, we go back to this.
erosion, all that, read it, read it.
Read it. It's really, really detailed. And when you look up the state statute of 298, and when you go on the subject of water control, because we're a water control district.
You don't have to do that. Read the damn permits that we issued.
All of these culverts that have been correct, he has the legal authority right now with the board's approval to go to all of these and rip them out. And there's nothing.
Water flow, he can take it out.
Yeah.
But that's why I keep saying.
But we're working with our constituents.
You're gonna take the culvert out? Leave it empty like that, we're going nothing in there?
We're not saying that. What we're saying is we're putting a system in place to ensure that we have flow of water, but as well as ensuring that the process is getting done.
Yeah, but you stated.
Yes, if they're delinquent and they don't do anything about it,
We
they
do
be
that?
notified. Yes, we will
But
rip it
isn't
out.
that gonna
We will donate a board. I believe that's over.
Maybe the culvert out.
It's open, no, you drive over, you stop.
Right.
That's right.
So then, the trail's blocked.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So that's not solving a problem.
That's getting more problems. So that's really.
Well, what he's trying to say is we have to come up with a solution with the homeowner.
Okay, put a solution.
As long as they notify in the paperwork that management will draft. As long as they notify management, say, hey, I'm starting on it, it's gonna take me a little bit longer to get a new culvert. As long as they're notified about it, their culvert's gonna stay standing. We're not gonna be like the old back in the West and just say, oh, you haven't covered us, we're gonna rip it out. You know, we're gonna be more lenient, but we have to have a system in place, a structure in place.
Right, so the biggest challenge is.
What about the idea that I brought over to you guys? This is gonna be a lot of. You're probably gonna have somebody with a gun on your head. So why don't we try the idea of, because you do have a lot of people that are retired, that are really low income, whatever.
And as long as they notify the office, they're fine.
One time we were talking about it, and I brought up the idea to do like a payment plan or
We
something,
can't,
but.
we don't have the money.
We're as broke as they are.
And it goes back into the taxes. It goes back into the taxes.
You got a document.
Yeah.
This gentleman said, he says, culvert's just fine. A lot of these culverts, they look okay. You pull that big puppy out, and it's gonna come out in 6 pieces. And so then he's gonna say, it was fine until you tried to yank it out. So whatever you do, you're gonna have to document the heck out of it. Pictures and elevation.
So
I believe.
No, I'm just saying, I'm getting ready to address the community, but go ahead.
I believe taking it forward up, leaving a hole right there. Please. no allowing the residents to enter the property. That's wrong. That's completely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he was
Can
just.
we move on to something else while I read the permit?
No, we are, hold on a second. But, so we can understand as a community, these are the challenges that we have as a community. But the three things that we are responsible for, that is one of the major ones. And a lot of you, as well as myself, that lived out here during that flood that we had, that hurricane, where we were saturated, there was a lot of water not moving because we were not to the right elevation. So again, it's not gonna get better with all these people coming in. Not gonna get better. It's going to get worse. So we have to tackle this somehow as a community. Again, you guys, you live here as well. If you think we should leave it alone, maybe that's something we should do. I don't think so, but I think we should address it at a priority level because some areas are worse than others. But it has to be, sooner or later, they're gonna say, man, you're in charge of three things and you're neglecting, what he said, we're a water control district, but we're not controlling the water. That doesn't make sense.
I think you gotta look at the progress these places made over the past years in drainage.
A lot of people say we have
months before the water went down, and it's happening in a week.
Listen, if you listen to
a long way.
If you listen to the residents, there's no progress we made out.
Well, that's whatever. I live here too, and I can remember when
I pay taxes too.
months before the water went down, months. And now there was communities in Lee County and in Orlando that were underwater for months.
Again,
and in less than a week we were rolling around.
So watch this. It's not a matter of. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. It's going to happen again. We all know it. It's going to happen. What we've been doing is going to happen. And then all of you are going to come right here and say, we're going to cry and complain and all that kind of stuff. Because again, it's going to come with some inconveniences.
Of course it is. Let me say something.
Yes, sir.
I believe the main problem here, I go around the station.
Yes, sir.
Many times during the week. It's a lot of tears. Let me tell you one thing, honestly, sure. What I see happening here. All those problems in the ditches have been because through the years, poor maintenance by Central County Water Control District.
Yes.
Poor maintenance. Central County Water Control District.
40 years.
So we're responsible for
40 years.
Honestly, I have to say what I believe. I keep on watching. That's why I got for you. So people, our partners, the people want to speak up on mine. So that's what we're here. This is a free society. Thanks God, it's still a free society. The problem that we have with the ditches is made of. If we a bad corner to something here and there, but you may think, I tell you, it was my house, no problem. And I talk to you many times. When it rains hard for a few days, you go one way. Sometimes you go,
It's actually.
but you go, and you see the water, it's like a canal. It's like a canal, not only man, but property in a pollution, all over. And you went by there with the plant, with the napkins, we went around the whole area. Like you said, we have to love the ditches in order for the water run down to the canal. But that was because of poor maintenance by Central County Water Control
For 40 years.
I mean, so I have to be honest.
It's been let go for 40 years.
That's why I say it's wrong.
But it's
They call it out.
I got a quick.
We got a motion on this. Very good.
Why don't we evaluate swells and find the easiest ones to do, the ones that are gonna cost less money, the less trouble, get them first.
Why don't we do the opposite? Why don't we troubleshoot to find out the problem areas? and
Yeah,
address
well,
them?
I'm just saying, you can get some out of the way now, if you check them.
Well, we have to give them, you're just picking the fruit though, bro.
Well,
We have to give
you
them
gotta
a
do
fruit.
something. At least you're moving. At least you're getting some eliminated, and you know where your problems are.
2 seconds, go ahead.
The grant that Central County got, is that for infrastructure or is that specifically just for pump stations?
Actually, we're trying to, that's a great question. We're trying to delineate what we can use that funding for.
Because my thing is that if y'all can access some of that money, and I know y'all don't want to kind of throw it away on individual landowners. Sure. But if we come to a problem, and I mean, if you could put in a culvert, maybe y'all can invest in quite a bit of culverts and just, you know, bite the bullet and do, it's just reinvesting back into the community. It is just something, and if you could get it from that for infrastructure, that'd be great.
What's that?
We tried that.
We're gonna hurry up on that. Was that on that grant
Still
money?
haven't got it yet.
That project, was that on there? Is anything read like that on there?
No,
Yes.
what Chris is talking about is over on the swell.
Yes, sir, I know that. That's what I'm asking. I agree with you. I agree with that. The canal.
Yeah, they're gonna
At the very end. Chris is talking about the covers on the swell. But the ones we got,
The canal.
I'm pretty sure we can switch it, I think. But the ones that was put on the 1.6 was actually the 400 and something on the canal.
We'd have to.
I asked a question the other day in a meeting with the county if we could defer some of that money, and I'm waiting on an answer.
Okay.
But we definitely want to.
Good suggestion.
Yeah, we're waiting on an answer.
So, can you
And please
say your motion on
that when we do 1 week as well, basically nothing else is gonna get done.
So be it, so be it.
So here's another thing, I would actually be creative. Find some people that'll work for a few days. But everybody, a lot of contractors do it, but I'm saying a lot of people do it. They'll bring some of the local White House people out here. But I'm just saying, trying to get creative. Let's go play, bring your motion.
The motion is to give management the directive to tackle the project at a rate, but not stagnant.
At a rate that we can afford.
Yes.
So moved. So we have a motion on the floor, please second.
Okay, we haven't decided if we leave that empty space over or we put it back.
No, we can only get up. No, we still, we can only get up. We can only get up.
So let's do this. So action, so we can move forward with this motion. If we approve this motion and you come to a situation that you have a situation, contact Mr. Bennett, come up with a solution and present it to the board and we'll make a decision on your
I
behalf.
like that. So let's do that.
So the pressure's off of you.
Yes.
And it's on the subject matter.
I can take the pressure as long as you guys decide what you want to do.
But I'm just saying, what he doesn't want, nobody wants to have a elderly mother sit there, she can't get to her property. Not everybody's fortunate enough to Is that reasonable? Mr. Bennett, is that okay with you? All right, so we have a motion.
I change the motion. And we follow this statement. This is our law. If you look at the law, it's there already. First condition, operation and maintenance of the stormwater management system / program is responsibility of the landowner. Special condition 2, the district reserves the right to undertake any remedial measures. Okay, to fix, it's all here in the permit.
We definitely understand that, but still there has to be some.
Thanks, Chuck. Can I get, so we have to care for the people that don't have the money, put it forward, okay?
It's there, why? We're covered in black, no doubt.
We have to look at the human side of it, okay? We have some people here that have the money, we can go over the property. We don't want to make it with an open hole there, and they can,
So we have a motion on the floor, we have a second. We have a motion on the floor to commence this swell project. Do we have a second?
Yeah.
So we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Anybody disagree? All right, so we have, the motion carries, we have 3-1. You're on the roll, Mr. Santana.
I go for water, believe me,
That's
why I've been for 63 years. They give me a lot of problems, you know? That's why I'm here for the
We might get done by 12.
All right, let's go.
Ready? Also, the next one is E. Discuss and vote Henry County proposal to repair mailbox structure.
So moved. So moved. So moved.
Is that you? Go ahead.
Yeah, I spoke to Mr. Iglesias.
Oh, you're gonna get a no now.
Don't even talk about it.
You know what? then we have to escort you to your house, right? You definitely have to escort you back there.
Make a motion, all right.
Where is it? Where is that paper? Sorry.
I spoke to Mr. Ramon Iglesias,
Okay.
27th, last month. Okay. We have a meeting here. Discussing with him that Henry County, government commission, that they pay for the, repair of the structure of the battle room in Violeta.
Okay.
I reminded him. And we happened to be back and forth, and then he told me he would get back to me, he would speak to the, commissioners and to the, lawyer of, Henry County. And he got back to me the day, 2 days later, 3 days later, he said they were discussing the issue. After they had the last meeting, he called me, he said it was approved for Henry County to fix our structure here of medical.
So move,
We have to approve it.
So move, we go, let's go. What are we waiting on?
Hey, maybe that's gonna be something that I say.
So we have a motion on the floor for Henry County to repair our mailroom structure. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? So we have a second. All in favor? For the record, 4-0, Glad back to yourself, Mr.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, that was a hard time.
Welcome back. All right, we're going to F, discuss Central County Water Control Roads being surrendered to Henry County. I have no idea about this one.
Very simple. Very simple. I've been meeting with them for a long time.
All right.
They have powers that we'll never have. Very broad powers. They pull money from all areas of the county in order
Us.
to, well, up from lately, for the past, well, not lately, for the past 40 years, our money goes somewhere else. Now, once you do this, they can bring money from over there to pay roads here. They have a bigger pool. Bigger pocket. Yeah, bigger pocket, bigger pool. Every law that we've researched, every conversation we have had with the county about paving roads has went to the dead end. You're 298, nobody, we can't get grants, we can't get anything. There's no help except voting here to turn the roads over to them and then let them attack it. Yes, sir.
I'm a hard no on this, I'll tell you why. I spoke with the state on it, and Port LaBelle, all of their roads are paved, and they're also a district like us.
They were paved many years ago.
Yes. But if we go back to see why they were paid, it was the same thing. And what happened was with their 298 basically was, oh, let's give you the roads. Then the county says, oh, well, you don't need this much money in taxes. And then what happens is now all of the stuff that we can fight for, we only get to one person to fight for. So be very cautious.
Well, listen, they're not paying for anything. Listen, very careful.
They don't pay for nothing, but they can't legally say, if we're gonna take over your roads, we need more money. And where's that more money gonna come from? Our little bit of taxes.
But listen, right now, in order to get these roads paved, you're gonna have to raise taxes, not $100, $500 an acre. You'll never do it.
But if we should.
So, if you give it to them, and let me tell you something, people have a very unrealistic opinion of grading roads, paving roads in Montura. The thought that the little pretty birds in the sky and all the roads are gonna be, it ain't gonna happen. You look at anywhere in these counties, it's not gonna happen. We don't have the money, we're not gonna have the money unless we tax these people to death, and they're not gonna go for it. The best chance we got, after meeting with them, is to let them do it. If y'all wanna do it, so be it.
Or keep the power in the constituent and move out of a 298.
Yes.
If we move out of a 298, the power stays with them.
Yeah.
Right now, we're voting to give all the power that our 298 has over our constituents' roads to one individual. That one individual can't even move the moon if you ask them.
But think about
Come
this.
on.
Think about this.
Let's be realistic.
The power, which is
I've been contacting the Hendry County commissioners about our trash. No, because this is a real big subject. Our trash, our mosquitoes, everything we pay for in taxes. They're real quick to take money, but they're not real quick to do something.
Yeah. True.
People say the same thing about
That's
us.
true.
They're saying the same thing about us. We're not doing anything about the road. And we're not doing.
You should see them spraying the mosquitoes.
So you're turning this.
Pero si lo tiran en la calle.
You're turning.
I'm like, what?
Roads over to a
Sí, los carros que están poniendo echan más humo.
You don't? Listen,
La cosita va a buscar a mercado.
leave them
Lo
here.
hice en la calle.
Nothing's
Y
gonna
luego
change.
dijo, él dijo ahora que había que abrir.
That's true. You should see them spraying.
Lo abre y el otro lo freía.
No.
Es todo una mierda.
Let me ask you this, why are we gonna turn our roads to Benton County? Why? So they can be responsible for them, so they can take care of them. They're getting most of our tax dollars anyway.
You can fight that. You can fight that.
Well, if they're taking all the taxes, they might as well fix it.
No, let's have the vote. Let's vote.
If they're taking all taxes, they should fix it.
Te van a subir.
Te van a botar de aquí. Sí, que te van a botar.
But they're already taking the taxes.
Both points are actually great points. He says Hendry County has the power to do what they do. He says they won't do it, it's possible. People you say we don't do crap about the roads anyway, so we might as well turn them over. So again, that's where we're at.
Yeah, but if they raise the taxes, then what? Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure you heard me.
Speak out of turn, please.
The solution.
You are.
Necesitamos urgent care.
The solution is
I know the supermarkets. I know the gas station.
I told them they have to keep them the money, and they should keep it. You can't make
They won't give us a dime. They
I don't
won't
get
give us a
it.
dime.
These people have been taxed for years.
Te van a mandar a sacar.
Just 3 weeks
No me
ago,
ponga la esposa porque me parte la
we
mano.
had a Zoom call
I'm
with
double jointed. Look, me
Commissioner
la van a sacar del lugar.
the county manager, the county attorney, me, Emilio, and Benny Alvarez to talk about these issues. And we talked about it, and Benny said, I'm gonna give you the F words. And, you know, they kind of went back. I'll tell you what they're gonna do. If you can give them the roads, if you think they're gonna maintain the roads out of their existing general revenue.
I agree.
The public works director. Shane. So, in fact, Shane at that time said, we'll fix the roads. But anyway, but he said, oh, we'll create, it's called an MSBU, a Municipal Services Benefit Unit, which is, they'll draw a circle around Montura and charge you an extra tax for the road.
That's what Donnie said.
So,
Then when taxes come around, they say, oh, well, we maintain your roads, let's take that portion of your budget, that's less money for 298, no.
they said that too, they go, okay, Central County, how is you gonna pull back your maintenance
Exactly,
fee?
money, it's all about money, and then who are we to bat with them and say, hey, the road
But
hasn't
if
done
you
that.
think the county's gonna do it better and cheaper,
Can we go to the legislation? State of Florida legislature.
We are.
And try to change
We
the
are.
status the way we have it right now.
We are.
That's what we have to do.
It's a
That's what we have to do.
It's a process.
And at the same time, remember I told you we lost one meeting before, 2 meetings before. Let's take them to court. Let's take Henry County to court. So we talk about that. Because then you said that the government of the state of Florida gave them money to be used in Central County. And instead of using that money in Central County, they use it in Port of Law to make new roads. Somebody told you that up there in the government?
Well, you know that's happening. Why don't you take me to court?
I did. I'm not aware of any legal cause of action against it. If that were the case, many cities would be suing counties. That, it's called, it's not legal, it's called political. I bet you there's more votes in LaBelle than there are here. Until you go and vote, they look at the vote.
Somebody called Danny.
I told
That the money that was coming, okay, a certain amount of money,
It was a political move.
money was coming for us, Central County.
Cash cow.
Cash money.
Cash cow.
Okay, and the government of Henry County took it and they used it to build new roads.
No, let's not beat, no, we're not gonna beat this no more. We're not gonna beat this. Let's take a vote, let's make a motion, yeah, so we have a motion on the floor, we go all night. Discuss, roads being surrendered to Henry County. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second to surrender our roads to Henry County?
No.
Hold on, people, we can't do that, please. We have a motion on the floor, do we have a second? Motion is not here. We stay with the road.
We stay with the road.
Also, let's go to G. I'm not sure, but discuss a vote on having family members help during summer games.
That's done, yeah, that's done.
Only for 1 year. You guys approved it for that year? Yes.
Permanently.
No.
Okay, all right.
Well, if the chair's not here, we all agree.
We can move on with that.
Yeah.
So let's, we need a motion on the floor to approve it forever.
Forever.
Aye.
Aye.
Second.
All right. Okay.
There we go. Next. That was fast.
Hay robo a la calle.
Mira, esos son los que tienen las motos, pero no pintan y que desbaratan. Mira, a mí me vuelven a desbaratar la que se rejalan. Porque yo no puedo parar de venir.
They were talking about the material, okay, so, Mr., we did the testing of the rock pit that they had excavated a while back. It did not pass DOT specifications. So, yes, but it was the same material that was being used prior for the roads, for the maintenance of the roads. Yes.
Okay,
Los millones de dólares que tienen guardados de esta, millones de dólares. Hay millones de dólares guardados. Eso lo tienen ellos en el banco. En el banco hace falta 10 más.
Okay, so the rock that we're talking about, 905. Mr. Bennett said at that time,
Hold on, people, we got, hold the meeting, hold on, please. Let the people speak, go ahead.
at that time, Mr. Bennett said that the road that there didn't pass inspection as a DOT, but we can still use it for a road. Is that right, Mr. Bennett?
Yeah.
When we did the inspection, so.
What road, sorry?
We haven't had a chance to get out there and see if we could even put a pit there, because it was wet.
Right, I know that, but I wanna know if you guys wanna start that process again.
What, the process to do what, sorry? To use that material?
Yes.
take this. Can I say
So we're
something?
both at the same time, it sounds like they did testing on the quality of the rock.
Right.
And it doesn't mean
Determined that it
DOT.
wasn't necessarily DOT grade, but it was still usable. So
That we-
the threshold question is, do we want to go forward and get permits to build a rock pit?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
All right.
We can use that, let me ask this question. We can use that like our perimeter road to bring it up.
You can, since you're never gonna give the roads to anybody else, you can do whatever you want. If you don't wanna give them up, you couldn't use it because you're accept it. But yeah, you can take that, dig it up, fill perimeter up as high as you want, or very little cost.
Good, hey, that's good.
So let's do it. What would you give me the road?
Is that the best management practices to do? To use that material on these roads? Or is it best to use?
I believe it would pass.
Too much clay when it gets wet, it gets stuck.
Background shell
Okay.
material. Just have to use more of it. Like if you put 6 inches of DOT lime rock on the road, you probably need 8 inches of this.
Understood. Or can you mix it, can you mix one with the other? Like for instance, if you put the depth dot first, and then use that to the last 2 or 3 inches, can you do something like that? I'm just asking, I'm
Probably wouldn't want to do that.
understood.
Probably one or the other.
So what is your?
Nothing, so that, if you guys wanted to reconsider
I
and
think
do
we
that.
should look into it, see if we can use it. If we can't use it, then.
They just say we could, so. Let's use it and see what happens.
Isn't that the same material that was used many years ago to do the roads in Montreal?
Probably not.
That's where they got it at.
No.
I don't know.
No.
That one I don't know.
Real quick, so the problem is that rock pit's already been tested multiple times. The issue with it, it has a lot of clay, so once it dries up, it's really hard. As soon as it gets wet, you can literally sit flat on it and you're gonna get stuck. And if you put that out on the roads, it's gonna be a huge problem. We tried some of that stuff before and it never worked, and that's why all that stopped. And like I said, it never passed, it's got tons of clay. I don't know what test y'all do, but it'll tell you that's.
Test, showed.
What's that?
Maybe it was a different pocket, maybe it's a different pocket.
But y'all.
We needed to do some more test holes.
Well, because that's what I'm saying, because we used it. For first hand, this is not second hand, third hand, we used it.
I don't know how it was dug and how it was.
Well, from where we dug it out and we take it to the,
Yeah, you go get
retail, it
analyzed.
was a base, but not DOT.
No, of course, but how far down you go, how much you're gonna get?
Well, that is what we never did because the rain season and whatever.
Yeah, it's not clay, you
Well, let-
can't use it.
Yeah, let's look into that,
They're not
let's
using
look
it.
into
Let's try it out.
that, and then move from there.
See what happens.
So, do you still need a motion? Does he need a motion for this, Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor? Does he need a motion to check into this?
No, just check it.
All right, go ahead. Don't we have to prove it
To use it?
He's not doing
He's
it.
not
They're
doing
gonna test it.
it.
It chose to test it.
Okay.
You have to go deep, you know, usually the first 10 to 20 feet can be muck and, I mean, the good high-grade lime rock's gonna be there. You gotta get deep.
All right, so let's go to, I think we skipped one, but let's go to 8, the usage of the right-of-way for ATV riding. I put the motion, and I've listened to a lot of people, and I agree with them. I agree on both sides. I'd like people to enjoy Monterey, but at the same time, I know there's a lot of people that are not gonna do the right thing. So I want everybody to understand that as a four-wheeler, if this gets out of control, you know what's gonna happen, right? Right? You're gonna come and complain, they're tearing up my roads, Calidad's gonna complain, and many others are gonna complain. So again, there's an equal balance. There's an equal balance, but I don't want, again, I wanna ride so like anybody else, but we have to obey the thing as much as possible. Any questions from the boards, and what do you have before? Yes.
I have a question. This is illegal. This is illegal by the state of Florida law. Yes. So if it's illegal by the state of Florida, to ride ATVs on the any state road,
on our canal, city?
No. Road. This is on the right of way, not on the road.
Yeah, but how do you get to the right of way? They tell you, the road.
Right away?
No, I'm saying, you doing the airbags? And then how do you throw the Facebook road? The sheriff was said it before, you can do it, but they gotta cross the road. And you go right back to the same road.
But the people wanna ride in the right of way.
But it's not what the people want. I want mine, it's treaty. I mean, that's illegal, that's illegal. That's illegal. And which you know, I believe it's my opinion, which you know both in Sampson, that it's illegal at the state level. Let's go to a good thing, like all golf carts. So, all right, so we need a motion.
It's actually the canal bank, we pay for the county. The first person that gets killed in a canal bank.
Ride slow moving vehicles.
Central. County's gonna have to pay for the
That's
medical.
not being talked about, that's being talked about by the lawyer, but we're talking about four-wheelers.
Oh, okay, I thought you were.
No, this is the golf cart, we're getting there. No, golf cart, I agree on how many golf
We're talking about
carts.
four-wheelers.
This is all four-wheelers.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mata, I wanted to address this real quick. Last time I was interrupted. But again, my point is, I understand there's a lot of people in Montclair. I understand there's a lot of people coming in Montclair, they enjoy the ATVs, whether they ride on swells or anywhere else. I believe, like I said, there's a term on our faces, but there is people out here that may be willing to pay $250 or $300 per ATV to get a sticker to be able to ride out here and identify our residents. Now, those that come from the outside, those that come from the outside, and those that come from the outside, that come in to tear our roads and all that, and the officers may run into them, and they see that they don't have a decal, and our residents from here are tearing up, then they should act on it. But if we can implement an annual sticker, 250, 300, 400, whatever it is that you guys implement, okay? I'm sure there's over 100 and something people out there, okay, that are willing to pay for that. To ride where though? To ride in the swells, to ride in the streets, to ride in the
That's illegal. In the state of Florida, it's illegal to ride the ATVs on the road. It's illegal.
It's illegal to ride on a paved road.
No, it's illegal to ride in the road.
Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens when we get, hurry up, well, this is.
So again, it's illegal to ride on a paved road.
Mr. Dominguez, please. Can you?
Let him finish right away, please.
Can you answer this, please?
But we adopted,
Public
Franklin County adopted an ordinance.
It's illegal to ride the ATVs on the dirt roads?
ATVs are allowed in private property.
And private property is Central County roads.
No, Central County roads are no private property. Central County roads is
It belongs to
public.
Central County.
Who's gonna pay for the medical bills?
Sorry, Central County is not private
Somebody
property.
kills themselves in the canal bank.
That's what we have the Chevy Chevy.
Wait a minute,
He doesn't talk, he doesn't have any talk.
No. I want for everybody equal opportunity. If you don't know, I hate to talk, you have to allow everyone that want to talk to talk.
But you interrupted.
No, I ain't interrupting, but I'm saying equal opportunity. If you can talk, everybody else that want to talk, they can talk.
Okay, so we'll get, I'm the chairman, so stop. You have the floor, Ray.
My thing is, he's saying ATVs are illegal. Technically, golf carts are illegal in the state of Florida also. But if the board has the authority to approve the golf cart regulations, they have the authority to approve an ATV.
So let me talk about golf carts.
Hold on, let's not change the subject yet. Let's talk about this ATV.
Yeah.
So again, you made your point, I think. So, Sheriff Deputy Dominguez, do you want to speak on the four-wheeler or are you?
No, I'm
somebody
good.
else?
Listen, it is prohibited by state law on public roads.
We're not talking about public roads.
In order to get on the right of way, they gotta get on the state road. The right of
If they have
way.
a road, they need a public road.
So, we need a public road.
So we have a motion on the floor to drive on the right of way. Do we have a second?
Wow, 6 years ago, I was driving around, man. Empezaron a vender todo. You guys fight for it first, and now you fight. Make up your mind.
People wanna hear about golf carts?
Yes.
Because I'm the last one on the agenda, so you
Don't
have to
make me
wait
put the
till
gavel on.
unless you vote to let me speak first.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes, speak.
So I handed out, I made a couple extra copies. So I handed out a letter I received yesterday from the Attorney General's office, just to set the history. The board asked me to figure out whether or not we had the authority to authorize golf carts on Central County roads.
It's illegal.
So I looked at the law, which is chapter 316. Chapter 316, and I made copies of it. I sent you an email 2 days ago with all of the attachments, the laws, the Attorney General, everybody on the board should receive. So in your packet,
It's under attorney in your binder. Look under, behind attorney, in your binder.
So I looked at the statute. The statute talked about how, so whoever said, it's true. Golf carts, as a general rule, are prohibited unless certain things happen. And there's a law that says if you're a county, and it's on a county-owned road, you could allow golf carts if you do A, B, and C. And then in this law, it says if you're a city, you could allow golf carts if you do A, B, and C. But I couldn't find anything in the law about water control districts. So I called the Hendry County attorney and I said, hey, I know you dealt with this issue before. What can we do? He looked at it, he said, there's nothing in the law. And so together, the Hendry County attorney and me as a district attorney, we wrote a joint letter. We both signed a letter to the Attorney General's office. And in that letter, we asked 2 questions. If you look at the letter I handed out, the 2 questions are on the first page. We asked, can Central County allow golf cart usage on its roads? And the second question was, and if Central County can't, can Hendry County authorize golf cart usage on our roads? Because there's a statute that allows counties to allow golf carts. And in short, the Attorney General said, no, you cannot allow golf carts on Central County roads, nor can Hendry County authorize golf carts on Central County roads. And the legal analysis, and again, if anybody wants copies, you ask me for it. If you want copies of the statute, I can email it. So some of the budding attorneys here, if you want to read the law, you can do it. But
so it's more than 298.
It goes back to the whole thing.
Yes.
Where it says,
Elected officials at that point in time.
yeah, so
Go ahead, Don.
she basically said that we don't have the authority. We are a creature of statute, and this Attorney General actually,
can we ride the track down the street?
This lady. She looked at the issue and said, you don't have the authority. If the legislature, she said here, in her letter, if the legislature wanted to give water control districts the authority, it would have done so. And it literally so that's the issue on golf carts. If I call the Attorney General's office, please do. You want to read the statute, please do.
That's an issue with the 298 all around. We are tied up completely with 298. Once we get rid of this 298, believe me, it will get better. Unfortunately, people may lose their
Gotta be
jobs.
careful about Fort LaBelle. Fort LaBelle's not a 298. Fort LaBelle's a CDD.
Yes, but back in the days, they were 298 and they fell under a certain political movement in our county that on tour at that time was still private. And when they were going into their political stage and moving into their 298, there was a political move to pave every single road, either in Montour or in Fort LaBelle. And the political move of the county at that time was to pave where all the voters were at, and that was LaBelle. And that came from the guys of the state of Florida. On the census.
Montour's gonna grow, and we're gonna get it out of this 298.
We have to. We have to.
So that's golf carts. So we already talked about carnivals and festivals. we look real hard, we could say that a carnival festival is a related recreational activity.
Say nice and
Mr. Santana has can be established a public forum. The answer is, that was an easy one. We don't have the authority to do a public transportation.
Oh, no.
And I was asked about the Nike rights. The answer is yes. Update on state versus Ramos. So, the assistant state attorney has issued subpoenas, it's very routine. The way these guys work, the assistant state attorney, they're assigned like 400 cases. It's usually a kid, a couple of years out of school. And so they'll issue subpoenas that everybody's name was mentioned. 90% of the time, you'll never get called to the trial. 90% of the time, it gets split out. But I believe many of you have received subpoenas. I called the assistant state attorney and spoke to the young man. We help any way we can. He asked me for a copy of our public forum policy, which I have a thick copy, so I sent him that. Oh, if you needed anything else, please call me. And that's all I know about that case. And there's a meeting next week regarding the reservoir and with the South Florida Water Management District and our consultant, Barrett. He goes by the name of Bear. The guy. Call him Bear. And I'll report back to you as soon as I hear something back. And again, the strategy is to take them out there and hopefully there's natural recruitment. Since there haven't been ATVs back there, hopefully all the wetland vegetation has been coming back. We need to, our consultant said he'd like to wait towards a little more into the summer. You take the agency out there so when it's nice and wet. And that's all I have.
Everything's kind of dry right now.
Exactly.
So with that being said, so because the software water management, they can meet with all they want, so they're not gonna give a quick response. They're gonna sit on it and
honestly
go through the whole process, right?
They don't want to deal with us. They wish this was never brought to their attention. They have so many other important things to do. We're very low on their list. Well, they'll eventually get to it.
All right, anything else? Any questions? Saying nothing. Thank you, John. Manager report?
You guys wanna go straight into questions, or you want me to?
I would like to have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where are we on the one issue with the
Gotta work tomorrow, we can't be up all night.
The show was still. Can we go to the governor? Talk to the governor's office. See if he can do something about it.
He did. He did.
Governor?
Yes, he did. That grant for all that money.
You want that they keep on the top?
That,
That's wrong, that's wrong.
he did. This is the simplest way his office has told me and tells me to tell the constituent. In 298, you are limited to 4 walls. He said, once you move out of that and you are now a town or a city, the elected officials can do whatever they please in a bigger 4 wall within their district. Until then, we're tied.
Can we work something out with the Florida legislature and trying to change the system that we have right now within the 298?
I mean, we could, but again, we're a little.
But what do we have to do in order to
They have to hire a lobbyist in Tallahassee.
We had one with you before.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. I mean,
Eso es lo menos. Buenas noches. Aquí te que sacar esto, que dejarlo de ellos todo eso. Se tomó la
County employees can drive their golf carts around doing business, so isn't that authorizing golf carts?
Exempt.
How is that different
They're
from
exempt.
residents driving golf carts?
She's saying, why the Central County Board of Employees are allowed to ride in golf carts?
They have,
Why do
they have,
not
they have
allow?
the
Highway
the
maintenance.
John Deere things, yes.
Yeah, because they're not doing it for example,
They're exempt.
like where I live in Delray Beach, the public works guys are on golf carts all the time.
Yeah, but that means Central County is authorizing employees to drive golf carts.
No, they're not the general public, we cannot authorize the general public.
I just don't see why residents who
It's
have,
like-
if you have, if a resident has a street.
You can't drive a front end loader on the public street, but you know what? You take our front end loader down the street.
No, a mí no me interesa nada. Me interesa a mí porque no van a hacer
I
nada.
can drive my tractor on the road.
Yes.
It's got one of those slow moving signs, triangle, the same as your equipment. You're allowed.
You're agreeing with me, yes, that's what I said. Because you're going from point A to point B, you're not just,
Cruising around,
hanging out on the, right.
Yeah, but if I want to drive from my house to the clubhouse to pick up the mail, I've got a street approved UTV. I can't do it, but I want to go from my residence to the clubhouse and back.
Central County doesn't have the power to do an amendment to the law like they did.
Yeah, but
on
they're
the road.
letting the employees.
Yeah, but they're doing their job. That's-
If you have a street legal vehicle, you can go and get a tag, and you will have no problem.
I can do that?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a state tag on my UTV.
Well, I don't know the specification, but if you have a street legal vehicle, a motor vehicle, you can go to the tag agency and they'll give you a tag.
Like, yes.
You gotta go to Tampa and get it inspected.
Good question.
Manager didn't say that. Go check the sheriff.
Let's, where we at? So you finished this one, John? Yes, sir. Manager report, sorry, go ahead.
You guys wanna go and straight into questions?
No.
Yeah, go straight and
Give us some updates.
Okay, we're doing a lot of roads. I hope you guys can see it. We're almost done with,
You better tell the constituents, did you see it?
roads. You cannot cover the new roads with a finger.
I understood that.
We are almost done cleaning up all the end of the roads with the big trees and pine trees and all that stuff from the canals. We are working on the pool to pass inspection, hopefully for next week, to get it ready for the summer camp and all that stuff.
Where is the pool? Okay, keep going, keep going.
We have a lot of permits, a lot of people are doing a lot of permits, like everybody knows, they're building everywhere. We were mowing on the reservoir, fixing potholes, the garbage. The garbage was on a pause for a little bit there. I'm talking about bulk garbage, like big piles of garbage. And it's getting back into, we have to spend a whole day and a half or 2 days with the truck, the other truck, the loader, and the bobcat picking out like big piles of garbage. You can name it, tires, furniture, everywhere.
Like bulk trash?
Bulk trash, yes. Everywhere, on the corners, on, the back roads, on mother properties, the stuff like that.
Wait, if it's not, leave it there. Leave it there.
Valentine was really sad, nobody showed up to Valentine.
I did.
Oh, yes, we did.
I got a cupcake.
Well,
I didn't get a dance, but I got a cupcake.
Music.
Who you gonna dance with? What about
Valentine's Day.
We're getting ready for soccer tournament, hopefully, show up, a lot of people. We are getting ready to do a lot of changes in the clubhouse, with painting and, change, a little bit. We are working on, estimates for signs, the signs that we've been talking about for Flahor.
Good.
We even talked with Bennett. I don't want to go too much in there because I'm pretty sure Bennett has it on his report. We also working on getting LED video sign at the clubhouse.
Okay.
For announcement, events, whatever is needed. That's about it.
Question for you. One question for me. I'll start with the question.
Yes.
When do we have the pool, what do you think, ready to be open? When is the dates for it to be open and developed again?
We always open pool by spring break.
Spring break.
Yes, sir.
That's what we're shooting for then.
Yes.
Spring break.
Then after the spring break is done, it closed during school time, and it opens back up on Saturday and Sunday, every weekend until the school is done, and then the pool is open every day. Except when we're doing summer camp, it's open every day, but after 3.
The next question is, last meeting we had a complaints for last month. Do we have one for this month?
We were working on it, and we have a lot of problems with the computers and the internet, so the page wasn't hard.
If you could forward to me,
But
so we can see it.
you guys will have it by tomorrow or Monday.
Thank you, sir. That's all
I can testify to that, because I was going to ask for it
No, that's
prior
fine.
to it, and there was problems with that.
We even have to bring IT to work on.
No problem. That's all I have.
But, something I don't know where John went. The bulk trash, something that we should keep in mind, if we do tell John to move and add an amendment or to change our 298, something that we should look into is we already have maintenance highway technicians that pick up trash as well as bulk trash. And we already have a big problem with Waste Connections not holding up their bargain of the contract. I did speak with a few other people regarding their contract and what we pay them in taxes yearly. If we take that percentage away and we deal with it ourselves, one, the county for it because it'll be added on to our responsibility. But then again, we already have some of our budget being utilized in it for our highway technicians that we can reincorporate into picking up that bulk trash. Because it's more funding for us as well as it gives us the ability to solve the problem in our.
But that's a long way off. We gotta read everything.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, we gotta start the process.
Exactly.
I mean, I've
if
done-
we, like they like to say in Tallahassee is, if you can handle the problem, then what's the point of paying someone else to do it? We have to show that we can do it.
Let me charge you for Atlanta, or transportation. So you can be the person in charge of that. I like that idea.
We have to start somewhere, and
He's gonna bring us some ideas. He's gonna bring us some
I like
ideas.
that idea, you're gonna be the person, in charge of.
All I know is we gotta get, and we're not gonna get rid of the 298. The 298 is gonna stay here as a drainage district.
Oh, of course.
Like most of them are, but we're gonna
But it's
get
not
out from
gonna,
under this.
yeah, it's not gonna, yeah,
right, right.
absolutely. It's not gonna be.
We gotta
as
do
big
whatever
as
we
it
gotta
is.
do to do it. I mean, I've spent months on this, and every time we think we're just, and I'm gonna tell you something, I wanna say this very quickly. The county has cooperated. They have met with us, they have looked at everything they could, tried to get us money back. They were talking about giving us gas tax, the law won't allow it. It's tied us up everywhere. So, just saying.
Mr. Bunny, if they don't wanna give us some of the money that are taking away from us back, they can.
I don't
They
know.
can, they have to approve it only
in the commissioner, meetings, and they should give us back at least $500,000 or $400,000 for the money that they buy. They can do it. Legally, they can do it.
Well, they say they can.
We've been, the meetings have been pretty good. Like Ben said, they've been bringing ideas, and it's not one meeting, we have.
We've had many meetings over the last month.
A few meetings.
Yeah, but the meeting was, I don't give you any money back for.
I know, but it's not done yet. They still looking for more ideas. The thing is that going back to 298, they can get all kind of money from the federal government. We cannot.
They can't say that. I understand that. But what I'm saying to Mr. Penny is that legally, as commissioners of Henry County, as the government, they can approve in giving us back a portion of the money they're taking away from us without giving us nothing in exchange.
I think they can do a deduction where they like our charge fee basically, but I don't know about that.
By the way, I want to say on the record, I want to say thank you to Mr. Ramon Iglesias.
Yes.
For working on it.
He has worked diligently on our side.
I told him,
He has.
on the repair of the metal room structure.
Yes.
Which is really good.
And I'm talking about the other part. He has been on our side the whole time, trying to get money,
Yeah.
He has been right there.
It's doing good.
He's done more than anybody.
Any more questions for the manager?
Let's move on. We're done with it.
Thank you. Mr. Bennett? You got the floor. Okay.
I was asked at the last meeting to look again at the condition of some of our roads in regard to. Happy Sunday, everyone. We looked at them, again, the worst ones, and if we were going to do a paving project, the worst ones right now are the Honey Club from 833 to Hacienda, Montura, brought up to Cabot. But I'm working on a master list of all the paved roads, the dates that they were originally built, the dates that they've been resurfaced. And I should be able to have that by the next meeting to get it out. Still can't really go by the oldest is the worst. Sure. Have most traffic, how they were constructed originally, that kind of thing, but it'll give you an idea of what's been some resurfaced, how many times, and that kind of thing. So I'll try to have that by the next meeting. We already talked about the whales. We did turn in our annual report for that C-139 basin permit. That got turned in on time. We talked about the clubhouse air conditioning project. We got hold of a mechanical engineer that worked for us. He hadn't gotten back with it yet. Everybody was wants you can't always do anything good. He knows to get back to us. We'll talk about it. I take care of that. And then Arminio mentioned the signs for the Montura. Decided on a monument type sign, it was ground-based sign.
Sure.
So we're doing a couple of foundation plans for signs. The county doesn't actually have to issue the sign permit, but it will get a building permit. You have to have like a concrete block, base, footer, and then the amount of sign in the face of it. So that's what we're looking at right now. Okay. One for flagpole entrance, one over.
Any questions for the, for the engineer? No.
Yes, I want to say something. Thank you for doing a great job all the time here with us.
Any questions here? All right. Let's move on to the treasury report. Mr. Boyd, you have the floor.
Okay, so this is for the month of January, four months into the year end. We dispersed $194,000 this last month. As far as our taxes that we still have to collect, of $1,991,000 assessed, we still got 973,000. Current year taxes we collected was about 89,500. So it's, our current year taxes are about $119,000 more year to date than they were the year before. Delinquent taxes are a little bit less, about 57. Then we've always discussed where we are with the budget. It's 4 months into the year. We are overextending the budget year to date now by $209,000. But $106,000 of that was buying the 2 big pieces of equipment. So we're really about $103,000 over the budget. The deficit is about $132,000, so we're looking at about $240,000 deficit for the year. The other thing we're going to do this now, or next week, whenever we all have, we need to look at potential borrowing $1 million to $2 million in bonds. There's a handwritten thing I put on everybody's spot. I mean, we're not proving it, but I was asked to show what the payments and so forth. It looks just like this. Put it on top of everybody's, it's in my handwriting. Basically what it shows, so I can take this with me. It shows if we borrow, basically what we're talking about is not borrowing like on a piece of equipment, not borrowing on a mortgage with a property that's collateral. We're talking about infrastructure, which is the perimeter road is part of it. So when you borrow against infrastructure, you do it through issuing bonds. Like we issued a bond to finish the dike and the lift and all that. Because what they do is they put a lien on the taxes that it takes to retire that debt. So I've got that listed out here. With, if we were able to borrow at like 3%, probably looking at a 20-year rate. Rates may be real low at the moment, but when somebody's loaning you money for 20 years, it's not as cheap. So it shows basically payments for $1 million would be $66,854 a year. $100,281 for 1.5. $134,000 for $2 million paid back.
Over a 20-year span.
Right. Now what you do, and the second page shows how our normal bill, you can see we're paying $23.65 to retire the debt on the levy. So this would be the same sort of thing. You have to assess a tax to pay this back. So I'm showing it for a 1.25 acre lot. It would be $10.50 a year, $15.75 a year, $21.01 a year for the different amounts. And that would be pledged. That would be added to our tax and debt service tax. Some of the other consideration with issuing bonds is a fairly expensive thing. So you're probably going to incur $15,000 to $20,000 in fees, which we talked about last time when John was here. These bonds, it sounds like a lot of money, but in the municipal bond area, these aren't that big. Last time we got Center State Bank to local bank. So because they're relying on it's not like an equipment loan or mortgage. You can go out and get 100 quotes on the phone. So Ron, I'm talking about, you know, they have to analyze, you know, what you're asking for, your financial statements and all this kind of stuff. So I think the thing to do is determine if we want to go ahead with this, not now, but just thinking about it. You know, you could probably figure between the 3% and the 3.25%. You can see it really doesn't change the annual payment that much. So pretty comfortable we can do that. I'm not saying we should or anything, but this is the numbers.
If we needed to use it here, so I can figure.
This is what it would cost.
Honestly, it's pretty impressive how you can leverage that. But you know, when you go to for this kind of project, what I'd recommend is you determine, like let's say you wanted to do paving, you're gonna make it. So you said, I want to pave this road, that road, it's X miles, and you get, the bank's gonna want to know what you're gonna do with it, how you're gonna do it, how you're gonna spend it. I was surprised. Rates are going to go up. I'm going to tell you. It's a fact. You can watch the news every day with inflation. That means rates are going up. That means the cost of money is going to increase. So these numbers are going to change. I guarantee you they're going to be more expensive a year from now, and even more expensive 2 years from now. But I think we really need to have a company, maybe a contractor, do a budget for us. See how much, because I don't know what $2 million will buy. You need to figure out what you're going to do with it, have a budget, and then we'll go chase it.
What you can do is you can multiply this, figure out if you want to buy 3 million, take 3 times. Anyway, that's the mechanics of what it costs.
Keep in mind too that this is a loan for bonds, you know, 50 million is a small deal. So the Morgan Stanleys, those guys who can offer they're not going to be interested in this because, like I said, I don't even think they'll do 50.
That's what I was saying. Last time we had to do it with Center State.
I wouldn't want 50 anyway. We need, I want 100.
Yeah, just for clarifying purposes, on page 15 of the budget report, the 213 hours of overtime, is that just for the month of January?
Which budget?
This, the page, out of your report, page 15.
Okay.
Is that, I just want to make sure I read this correctly. It does say at the top, January 1st and January 31st, so is that just for that month alone, 213 hours of overtime?
I mean, it is just the money.
Okay, that's just.
Oh my. Well, I'm not somewhere.
Is that consistent? Is that a consistent number?
I don't see that number on there.
Number 15, I see page 3.
No, page 15, at the very end.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant where they were handwritten pages.
No, sir, yeah, at the very end of page 15. Wow.
I don't have that many, I'm sorry. I got numbers written on mine.
I got it here.
Okay.
213 hours.
Wow. Would that just be for the month of January?
Yeah.
Wow.
I can explain it if you guys want to hear about it.
Wow.
No OT.
We've been working every day from 7 to 5 to do roads and also on Saturdays a lot of times.
No Saturday.
Thank you, bring it up.
No, I mean, I agree with that. That's the month of January.
Wow.
If that's a consistent number, then what you do is, that means you need to hire somebody,
Thank you.
not pay overtime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been like that previous months
Yes.
as well. There's been a lot of over 200.
Yes.
I mean, it's always over 100.
Agreed. No, I've seen a few of them.
That's 213 hours divided between all the employees. So that's 14 employees.
Yeah, but what, they call it an FTE.
I know,
One-
yes.
One
I know.
FTE is 160 a month, so.
I'm just explaining why we have so many.
Yeah, no, I'm sure the work
We've
is.
been working on roads, we've been working on canals, Saturdays on roads. You know.
What? Anything else? Let's see what else we have here. Mr. Moore. Exactly. Board of Supervisors report, Supervisor Santiago.
Yes. It wasn't added on here, but everyone got it. It was for the, what you asked for. You wanted AC inside of the clubhouse.
Oh, yes, sir.
And I said, yeah, I'm all for it, but I said I wanted numbers on the doors that have to go with your motion.
Sure.
And they got back to me. Yep. For our facility to be certified, right, for like a.
Doors and AC.
For us to be certified for AC, to do the whole clubhouse with AC, and I think with these doors, we can use the clubhouse as a shelter, right? Or we're still missing a couple other things, right?
Nowhere near Cat 5.
$100,000.
We're almost there.
The whole structure could never be enclosed.
Okay.
Not even, brother.
Well,
Tear it down and build another one.
Yeah, that's the only one.
hey, let's start small. Are the doors for the facility to fully function and have the clubhouse fully AC? That's what they're asking.
That's including one door, the handicap.
Yes.
The front door will be handicap.
Bring it to
We
the,
talked about that before, it was right around 100.
bring
We
it
take
a
one.
bit for the AC.
Yeah, that loan that gets you in trouble. Borrowing money when you can't pay your bills gets you in trouble. Anyway,
And these new doors.
well,
Anything else?
Oh, and then
And the AC.
I don't know if any of you had the time to travel or go to other districts, but I did. And I think we, as a 298, as we move into the degree of changing our 298 and finding these problems and finding ways to solve them, we can learn from our neighbors. You know, we can learn from other 298s that are in close proximity to us. As well as we come into getting some of these issues fixed, we have to have the proper equipment to fix them. The management staff, as well as all the crew members, our vehicles, I don't know if you've been in them, looked at the mileage, they have surpassed what any other district will say is acceptable. When I brought it up of us being a part of the Florida Water District Association, the board approved it, but then after we found out they take a percentage of our budget, we said no. I still took it upon myself to join, to see what other districts do. And I know why they take a percentage now. They give you a standard, they also give seminars, they give your manager training, and I think that's stuff that we should look into as we move into this degree, because for all we know is our neighboring district can say, hey, I have 6 vehicles right now that I'm willing to donate to you guys, but the only stipulation I can't donate them to you is because you're not part of the association. But long story short, I think we need to start looking into the degree of getting new vehicles, as well as work trucks, because some of the work trucks out there were broken down, they sat for years, you know, they got them up and running, but they're still there. And from a standard of government vehicles, you know, it does come to the time where, you know, the government says, hey, this is the lifespan of this vehicle, it's not gonna get any better, you're gonna put more money into replacing it. And I think that's what we need to start looking into. It's in the back of the binder. Oh no, it's not in here. Becky, did you ever,
What are you looking for?
the vehicle quote?
It's how many miles you got on your truck?
The one for the Chevy?
Yeah, no?
No, you told me not to put it in.
Okay, well, I just gave a, I just showed for, this is just,
The mechanic truck is on 150,000.
Oh, okay, how about the next one?
Both of them are 100 and 100 and something.
so with that being said, I contacted a few of our vendors to get quotes on newer vehicles. The Chevy one's not in here, but I contacted Ford. Ford says that every government entity at this current state is going through the same thing we're going through, and they don't have trucks. I contacted Dodge. Dodge got with me with a quote for, I gave them a minimum of 5 vehicles, just to see where the numbers would be. As well as with Chevy, but it's not in here. And I also got with John Deere. And the reason why I got with John Deere was because I wanted to put it in a perspective. This is farm equipment, and what they're asking for 5 of these is equivalent, probably a couple grand more. They're asking for a truck. So, in the sense that we do expand, in which we are, there's a lot of more homes, a lot of more people coming, as we did mention. That overtime is ridiculous. That can be more personnel that we hire to help solve some of these problems. I don't have the quote with me, but I will make sure it's added as well as this one next time. But if you go to the back of the John Deere equipment, this is just for 5 of their side-by-sides. They're asking for 10. They're asking for 102K for 5 side-by-sides. Now, if you look at the quote that they gave us from Chevy, if I can pull it up on my email, they're asking for vehicles, roughly 30 around, they're asking for 25. The gentleman at Chevy did say he can give us lower rates per vehicle as our overall price of the equipment if we sit down and he pushes numbers and does all the other stuff with our 298. I just want to keep that in your mindset that as we do expand and we do grow, we're going to have to expand our personnel as well as create new positions to help evaluate some of these issues. I know management, they have a supervisor in the shop that's also over the guys, but as we grow and develop these areas, we have to also make sure our equipment's up to date. And I just wanted to bring this into perspective so you guys can see the numbers of what they're at. I'll make sure that I forward you the email from Chevy so you can get one of the quotes that I got to see what right now people are asking for. This is a side-by-side that's only for farm equipment compared to a truck. It is a little bit, it's a little bit more, but the beneficiary factor for years to come. Once we purchase it now, we're not gonna have to purchase a new one for, time. So that's all I'm saying. We have to start moving into that degree.
Thank you. You have anything to report on?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I had a conversation with Mr. Swindle, the school board superintendent, Miami County, and we talked about moving those here to Ventura. I gave him the idea that we can use the modern charter school system. Modern charter school system, which is a program that the state of Florida have, which the state of Florida will pay half of it. And then some private institution will pay the other half. Okay, he told me to get information about it. I called my daughter, which she used to work at one of the modern charter schools in South Florida, and I was with Miami-Dade school. She's a teacher, so she sent me the information. I sent the information to me to Swindle. And he got the information, and he told me he was going to go over it, and then he was going to call me, and let me know what he thinks about that. And he's willing to come over here if he thinks he's positive. Come over here and talk to us here at Central California in one of our meetings. He's willing to come over here and talk to us and definitely. Okay, that's all I have right now, sir.
I move to adjourn.
We will here in a minute. Do you have anything?
Move to adjourn.
I don't have anything. Can we get a motion on the floor to adjourn this meeting?
I move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
All right.
Motion adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
I don't know that I would.